Good morning. Happy 10th anniversary, Bitcoin. And yes, this is going to be a fantastic show. And Tom's already laughing at me. We have proof of keys. We have a Bitcoin anniversary. We have Rodolfo on, potentially Giacomo joining, maybe other guests, and straight to you, Tone. Hello.
Hey guys, how are you? I got a Bitcoin shirt. Oh, I should lower my camera. Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
What was
We
that?
all are chilling today.
There we go. Boom. Boom.
Boom. What's it say? Bitcoins don't need bailouts.
Yes.
Nice. Rodolfo,
Hey,
I don't wanna drop names, but well actually I could. Thank you, Rich, for giving the shirt to me over in London when I was there.
nice. Rodolfo, thank you for the hat.
yeah, you're welcome. I got I have a block clock today here counting down to the Bitcoin 10-year anniversary. That'll happen at 1:15 EST. And we're now focusing on the Satoshi run, proof of keys, be your own bank.
Well, and also I'm like the biggest shill ever for open time, as you know. And for those that don't know, this is the spec for the Bitcoin elliptic curve, the ECC, right? Which is obviously the curve that can't even talk today. Oh my God, cryptography for its keys and signature. I am gonna stop talking today and let you guys talk. And I think this is gonna be more of a fireside chat situation. So I'm gonna go straight at it. Rodolfo, what do you think about the birthday? We have BitMax took out the nice little page on The Guardian. You know, what you were talking yesterday actually about tradition, and that today could establish, especially with proof of keys, a very nice tradition for Bitcoin. You know, so tradition on the birthday. What do you think?
It's truly fucking fascinating that we have this experiment lasts this long. I mean, for the people who've been here for a long time, it's special. I mean, for a long time, we weren't sure if this thing was going to go anywhere or even work, and it's been pretty much uninterrupted for 10 years. Big old good boring Bitcoin just keep on chugging along, not making promises like other shit coins. The first and the true one. We have the biggest computing power in the world, protecting it. It has rewarded OGs tremendously for the risk they took in it. And you have this thing; it's still completely uncensorable, available to anyone, anywhere. It doesn't care of any intersectionality that you may have. It's still available to you. It doesn't give a crap about who you are. It's just a pretty special, fascinating thing.
Thanks, Rodolfo. And Tone, what are you thinking about on this birthday?
Not. I wasn't really prepared. Right? To be honest, I wasn't thinking about it. Like if I was thinking about it, we would have had a nice thumbnail about the birthday. We would have, lined up a bunch of guests. Like, to be honest, it's just another day. I don't, it's going to be so insensitive to Bitcoin. I don't care. Like, I think that's almost the nature of Bitcoin, right? Like the way Rodolfo reacted to the possibility of another concept of a foundation. That's kind of like my view of like the anniversary day. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's here. Like, I don't want to make a big deal out of it. It's it's not like the U.S. getting its independence, which again, I guess the day they signed the Declaration of Independence is the day of celebration. But it's not like that. Like I don't know. Like to me, it's not a big deal. I don't know why.
All right. Well, and as Rodolfo told me, actually, as a tidbit or a segue, is that the baby was born today, but actually broadcasted on the 6th or 7th under contention. But okay, fine, Tone. We will get away from the birthday for a second, and obviously on the birthday, but we will go to Satoshi Run. So actually, Bitcoin's price has been unaffected. But let's follow up on proof of keys today. And just from yesterday, maybe a little bit more of a deep dive, what are your thoughts on the fact that today is proof of keys? Are we going to see anything, or are we going to see that the emperor has new clothes?
I don't think so. I mean, we started this thing, just like a few weeks before the actual date. And, we haven't had a chance to really get the word around yet. We're just starting to send out hats. Fortunately, some of us got them before the date. I think rituals really help communities like do things, right? Remember things. And I think that, it's nice to use this date of a big FU to the banks, which was the creation of Bitcoin, to sort of also remind Bitcoiners not to centralize their coins again and hold IOUs, because then what's the point, right? Unless you're a trader, you should hold your Bitcoins. There is just no point.
Yeah, definitely true. Sorry, live chat, you are hilarious today. Thank you so much. This is going to make this even more fun and funny. Tone, so for the most part, we do not keep any of our Bitcoins, thank you so much, Cold Card, on the exchanges. So for the most part, it doesn't affect us as much, and definitely for hodlers. So do you think that this just doesn't affect people too much? The Bitcoin community, is it really, who do you think that this actually would affect? Will it change anyone's minds?
I mean, I don't think this individual event is going to change people's minds. It's more people listening to the right shows, listen to this podcast, listen to the Noted podcast, listen to Andreas, listen to Trace Mayer's podcast. I'm sure What Bitcoin Did is another good podcast that talks about this stuff. Like, listen to the podcast where the people constantly tell you not to hold keys with third parties. Because when you hold your keys with third parties, it affects all of us. Like, I am affected by more coins being held at Coinbase. I am affected by more coins underlying a Bitcoin ETF, because that's more coins being locked up in a regulated way by a government entity at risk of one day confiscating those Bitcoins, and the government having a substantial chunk of Bitcoin in control could cause some panic in the financial markets revolved around Bitcoin. So you are affecting people that are holding them the right way by holding them the wrong way. So it all comes down to education. And I think the more often there are incidents where you lose your coins that you have decided to hold with third parties, the more people will eventually learn.
I actually have, as we find more financialized products for Bitcoin, like the backed and like the second market, GBTC, as this big pools of Bitcoin start to exist, I think it's going to become more important for people to have more coins out of other centralized places, because we do run a risk of getting into a place like gold, where there's a lot of paper gold. There's a lot of bullshit gold that, it's very hard to tell if those funds really have the funds they claim to do. And it's very easy for them to lie, depending on which jurisdiction they're in, on how they're set up. We don't want to create inflation with fake coins.
Yeah, absolutely. Tone, follow up thoughts?
No. I mean, I agree with Rodolfo on this one. Yeah, you gotta. Look, I think Rodolfo will agree. Like a lot of the Bitcoin holding solutions, they're not exactly user friendly. They're just not. One day they'll be more user friendly, and they'll be safer, and they'll be better.
This really reminds me. Somebody said, because I said that on a tweet, that Bitcoin will likely be as important as the invention of electricity, right? And this guy answered to me saying, I don't think that people were hyping electricity back in the day. And he's wrong, actually. It was a huge freaking deal. It's actually quite fun. Go Google old electricity ads. There is a ton of ads hyping the crap out of it, of electricity. It's everywhere. And then there was the fight between Tesla and Faraday for DC versus AC, and those they had ads for that too. People used to die of electrocution. It was actually a very common thing. It was like super high numbers in the early days. The same way people lose coins now. Go check out the Westinghouse ads for the early everything that they were promising. It's like I think it's very easy for us to sort of like underestimate and underappreciate what is to have solved the two generals problem. This is a huge deal. Money is one of the most important things that exist, right? It is the price of freedom for an individual, and it's also its means of interaction with other humans, right? I mean, we've been doing this forever, and we figure out a way of doing this apart now, and it's. I think it is important to hype it and to appreciate it.
Thanks, Rodolfo. Giacomo, welcome. You're on mute.
I got it.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hey, sorry for the delay. This is a great day. I had to manage a lot of greetings from a lot of people. And also to start the Zoom on a new PC with Linux, which is a mess.
I see you growing out the beard, man.
Yeah. I'm compensating your upper part, so we are like a conservation of total amount of hair.
You guys all.
Speaking of, I got a little closer this time. I'm trying out new options here.
Ooh, are you gonna use a razor soon and shine it?
I don't know, not yet. I haven't gotten that far yet. We'll see.
Nice. Well, Giacomo, we're obviously talking about Bitcoin's birthday. So question to you, what do you think about today? Do you think that we progressed to a point that Satoshi would be proud?
So first of all, I am with Luke Dash here with the idea that we should all move to the tonal system of numbering. So in that regard, the 10th anniversary is totally irrelevant, and we are waiting for the tons anniversary, which is the 16th anniversary in the decimal base. But since everybody else is using the standard of decimal base, I will comply just for sake of interoperability, and I will celebrate today with everybody else. Yeah, I think that Satoshi should be pretty happy. If you read back what he said about what he wrote about his forecast for Bitcoin, it was pretty much critical in his thinking and not too much of a dreamer, especially in the last year of comments on Bitcoin talks. So I think that it would be he or they will be or are very surprised of the level of growth of this ecosystem. It's incredible. Lightning Network is incredible. The stage of the optimization in Bitcoin Core is incredible. What's happening with the hardware is pretty much incredible. I mean, yeah, I think it will be, and it should be.
Rodolfo, what is most exciting to you technologically 10 years later?
It's kind of like so OpenDime still uses the very original Bitcoin setup. It's not SegWit. It's not anything else, right? And I think that the fact that Bitcoin is backwards compatible to me is the most amazing thing, right? We have all this cool stuff at it, right? Lightning, SegWit, maybe Schnorr coming soon, all this cool stuff. But, I can make a device that uses the original way of creating a key pair, and it works. It just freaking works, right? I can continue to move and transfer my funds without any issues. And that's, for anybody that understands protocols, this is a monumental achievement, and it's done decentralized. We all agree that we can move this that we can move these funds in this SPAC that was done 10 years ago. It's just so cool.
Thanks, Rodolfo. Tone, do you think that Satoshi would have been surprised, impressed, confused? What would his thoughts be on the price movement, speculation, what's happened to financialization?
I hope he's impressed because, man, when I got into this in early 2013, like during those Cyprus events, I mean, I'm more than ecstatic of where we are today from that point in time. I know some people seem to, I don't know what the hell they're thinking, but this has surpassed my expectations up to this point. And I'm really happy about it. When Rodolfo was talking about how, he's still using like the original version of the protocol in the open dives, all I can think about was, man, I wonder if I can still find one of those AOL disks for the internet and find a computer that still has it like a disk drive and stick it in and see what happens.
I think two things will be left at the end of civilization: Bitcoin and AOL disks. You will 100% be able to find AOL disks. I mean, I was in Brazil when the AOL stuff was happening, and they were littered everywhere. Like, there was not a place you couldn't find it. And then I remember I traveled, I think, like to Chile or stuff, and they were there too. It's just like, it truly is a remarkable decentralized distribution of garbage that company achieved.
Thanks, Rodolfo. Giacomo, when did you, and probably you and Mir together, realize that Bitcoin was king?
Actually, she realized it before me, because I was discussing Bitcoin 2012 a lot with several people, but I didn't really focus on it full time. I was not ready to take the leap to focus on that full time. And she did think about that, because I remember one night she told me, basically, you are wasting your free time discussing about Austrian economics and crypto and anarchy, and you waste the time and you spend money and you don't get any money. Then you go to work and you work on technology, but not Bitcoin. And so you get bored and you complain because your job is boring. And so basically you have one solution to both your problems. You can start to do what you love and what you believe in, and making some money instead of doing some and leaving your boring job. So basically, not the next day, but a week later, I decided that she was right, and I quit my job at Accenture. So she was the one with the long sight about this thing.
It's very important to have a smart partner.
Sure.
And Mir is a PhD about prima donnas, right?
Yeah, she's correctly. She was studying back then. She wasn't able to focus on Bitcoin because she was finishing her PhD about 17th century or 18th century. I don't. Fortunately, she's not listening to me. Some century prima donna in opera music.
Thanks, Giacomo. And everybody in the live chat, I am not in a prison. Or maybe I am. Who knows? But, Tone, question back to you. When did you get excited about Bitcoin?
Man, like not early enough. I keep telling people, like, I might be one of the few people that, Leah, let me ask all of you guys, right? Did you guys discover it on your own? Or did someone that you know told you about it?
My business partner sent me the /dot thread. I really regret not making a comment on that thread because it got locked a few days after forever. And that's where I found it. So he sent me the link to that thread. I believe it was 2010 when he showed up, like that thread happened. And of course, I mean, when you look to the claim of the paper, you go like, no, bullshit, no way, this is not happening. And then you went to look at the code, and you go like, nope, this is definitely no good either. And then, I kind of let it go for like, months, and then I kind of go back. It was this weirdest sort of like back and forth with this weird thing that just kept on sort of like mutating, like or like spreading like a little virus in the IRC And in those days, you actually had to go to the ARC channel to connect your node. That's how the nodes found each other. There were too few of them for them to find each other on the internet by itself.
But all right, but I always go back to this thing, like Giacomo, did somebody tell you about it, or you discovered it solely on your own?
No, well, it's no. Mir was the one who told me to focus full time on that in May 2013. But in 2012, in late 2012, there is no possibility to. I mean, if you don't have anybody who told you about it, you are basically Satoshi Nakamoto, because by definition, somebody has to tell you that. In my case, it was three different people from three different contexts. One guy over the internet talking about open transaction standards during my job. One Italian guy, Andrea Benetton, about Austrian economics. And this other guy, I think was an Israeli guy, during a discussion about Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. So three different people talking about this thing. And I was like Rodolfo, I was a no-coiner for most of 3 months after getting these things. Bitcoin bring up continuously. I was really skeptical about that. And what happened is that, like a pendulum, I started skeptical because the claim was too much extraordinary. And then I went to super gullible, because for the first year in 2013, I was a shitcoiner, because since I was wrong about Bitcoin, then I assumed to be wrong about everything, and now everything was possible. I completely lost any critical sense and any healthy skepticism completely. And so in 2013, I was studying Ripple and NXT and every kind of shit going around, literally everything. And then I met finally Lawrence Naum, the creator of Green Address, and we were working together. And he actually taught me to get back some critical distinction and some kind of realistic assumptions.
Thanks, Giacomo. I admit to also being interested in shitcoins. So
everybody.
Yeah, my business partner Tyler, we first had a conversation about Bitcoin a long time ago. He was mining actually in 2011, and we talked about it at Thanksgiving dinner, because he's, our families are best friends, and I was fascinated, but I didn't do too much with it. And then finally, because as you guys know, I founded my company and had to raise capital, and then worked in venture capital. I just remember starting to learn about ICOs, and I was like, oh my God, I am so stupid for like trying to go to venture capitalists, because it was so difficult. Like, this is $1 billion. I am so stupid. This is amazing. And then finally, I was structuring an IPO in China for a Canadian company, actually. And again, I'm like, why are we structuring an IPO? I think we should talk about an ICO. Like, this is absolutely, like, we need liquidity. This is amazing. So then I called back Tyler, and he's like, well, you're going to get arrested. This is like the worst idea ever. And we are sitting down, and let me explain exactly why you are being very stupid right now, and that we need to focus exactly on Bitcoin and stop what you're doing. And to be honest, after that conversation, I quit that company and started working with Tyler full time. And so we've been doing Bitcoin ever since. So that the bug is a real thing. Yeah, the bug is a real thing.
I was never into shitcoin aside from Litecoin.
Fine,
so,
Rodolfo.
But I had an explanation for why the need. And so we started the payment terminals, right? I think it was 2012.
Yeah, the CoinKite terminals. I remember those.
Yeah, right. Some people still have the debit cards. I don't have one near me right now, but and Bitcoin needed, like it takes 20, sometimes 40 minutes for a block. So we thought, hey, you know what? Litecoin can do, it's a few minutes per block. And we're like, okay, great. You know what? You get 2-3 confirmations on Litecoin. And so we're going to put the two currencies on the terminal. So if you want to pay more and it's a bigger transaction, you use Bitcoin. And if you're making a smaller transaction, you use Litecoin, because you don't care about security of the blocks.
That's being a shitcoiner, Rodolfo.
Yeah, I know.
Just less than us, but
it gets even better. And then I had the second part of the rationalization about it. In those days, I was scared that governments were going to come and shut down Bitcoin, because you could totally shut down Bitcoin in those days. And I was like, okay, So if we have two coins, right, that have the same decent spec, because Litecoin essentially was just the change, like very few changes, right? So like, okay, great. You have these two coins. Litecoin had enough mining in those days. It was pretty safe. And I was like, if the government comes, I move from Bitcoin to Litecoin. And then, we could even write a proof of born and everybody moves to Litecoin if the government comes. So it was just a sort of like a head, so you could stay in crypto because crypto was this amazing thing that I just couldn't possibly imagine going away. And then barbecue coin came about. And then I was like, ooh, this is interesting. And then I think like the same week, there was the website that just showed you how to do forks. And there were just like thousands of coins. So I'm like, you know what? I'll buy some barbecue coin because the name is funny. And I sold it for 10x, my barbecue coin. So I think I made a good $100. It's not like things were so sort of like up in the air that like it was fascinating. It really was.
So Rodolfo, go for it, Tone.
Go ahead.
I remember when we covered on the show Oscar Mayer's Baycoin. So I'm pretty sure you probably bought into that because it's actually backed by the bacon. Which
I only bought barbecue. So the only true shit coin I bought was barbecue coin.
Oh my God.
Wait, you didn't have Aurora coin? It was number 2 on Coin Market Cap.
No, I
love Aurora coin.
I just, in those days we were too busy building CoinKite, and every coin that was not Litecoin was actually work to integrate. Litecoin wasn't because it was the same signing mechanism. So we through today, I think Coldcard actually supports Litecoin. We've always done that because it's the same amount of work that it is to integrate, at least for the easy stuff, right? We don't make anything special for Litecoin. We just offer to change essentially the block, like the blockchain that you choose to do the validation. But till today, you can actually do Litecoin on a Coldcard. It's the only shitcoin that's there only because it's the same amount of work it is to add testnet.
Oh my, well, first of all, Giacomo, that's Stoic Crypto. And that's Tone. I actually remember that Tone can be lazy because that's his favorite way of explaining Bitcoin by just wearing that shirt. And then I have a question for you, Tone, but show it.
I have to shield this because it's beautiful. Basically, it's a gift from Stoic Crypto. I think that you address something, and also in the song that the people published about the anniversary with the Greatest Showman song. Mir is dressing the sovereign purple t-shirt. So they're great. I really like them. This one is also starting with the name of the conference in Las Vegas. So the first one is Unconfiscatable, which is, I don't know if it's a real word, but it's great. I'm using it a lot.
I've added to my phone dictionary.
Okay.
There's so many words in the Bitcoin space that I had to add to my phone dictionary because you know what? I don't care that's not on the dictionary. I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it in a normal. We've added it into contracts.
It is now.
Exactly.
I'm waiting for these words to be added to Merriam-Webster one day. Giacomo, question to you on today. And you've obviously talked about this in some of your lectures. What does Bitcoin maximalism mean to you?
So basically, it means getting back to that pendulum that I was talking about before between denialism, like Bitcoin is too ambitious.
That's an entire slide in my presentation at Unconfiscatable.
So I'm spoiling. So this is a spoiler.
No, I'm actually no, Giacomo, your tweet is in my presentation. I'm not joking.
Okay, the slide. Okay, the slide about the fourth universal truth. So basically, it's about to. No,
not that one. Not that one. It's the one. The Bitcoin maximalists are moderates versus no coiners.
Okay, the two extremes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the pendulum. Between the denialism about thinking that anything too ambitious to be true is false, which is not the case since Bitcoin is incredibly working and working really well. On the other extreme, since something is working, then everything must be as easy and anything is possible, and you just and then everybody is has good intentions, so you give up any adversarial thinking and any critical thinking, and you just follow buzzwords. So Bitcoin maximalist is just staying in between, as in the tweet that Tony is using, that it's being moderate between no coiner extremism and multi-shitcoiner extremism.
Thanks, Giacomo. Tone, what does Bitcoin maximalism mean to you?
Actually, exactly what's in Giacomo's tweet. That's why it's in my presentation. It's like the Bitcoin maximalists. I mean, we just think that Bitcoin may succeed, and if blockchain succeeds, there will be just one. There will be one useful one, and everything else will be like it's going to continue to separate. And then the other extremes are that you don't care about Bitcoin's unprintability. I'm changing the word Bitcoin's monetary policy to unprintability. I tried to getting the domain, but somebody beat me to it. And because I would have loved to make 3 conferences, right? Like Unconfiscatable, because I own the domain. Wanted to make Uncensorable, taken, and Unprintable, also taken, unfortunately. So would have been 3 awesome conferences.
And Rodolfo, finishing with you.
You know, I'm going to be I don't think shit coins will ever go away. It's just the nature of the stuff. There's going to be the sea of Bitcoin, going up and down and doing its thing. And there's always going to be garbage floating. It's just the nature of these things.
I was gonna jump in on something because I saw a brief comment in the live stream where people say it takes about a year to realize that you're a shitcoiner and you need to stop. And for those that are kind of new, like back in the day when I had more free time, I used to tweet a lot more. And I'm gonna do a quick screen share. So even today, and I kind of stopped doing this. I don't know why I stopped. Like I used to do a lot of like annual tweets or like monthly tweets that I kind of stopped. But if you Google the words Mount Stupid and the word Bitcoin, you will still find my old tweets and my old charts back when I started representing Mount Stupid. And as you can see, I had Mount Stupid at about 1.5 years, where you, after you enter the Bitcoin space and the crypto space, you're at your most stupid about 1.5 years in. And then at about 3 years in, you realize that it's just Bitcoin. Those of you that have watched my interview with Ronnie Moas yesterday, as we talked about, he learned about Bitcoin in the summer of 2017. Right? So it's exactly 1.5 years, and he's now dealing with the whole big disaster.
You know what's funny? Tone, I remember this chart. I wonder if you do the inverse plotting of it, if you just inverse the axis, I think you're gonna get Brian Armstrong. I'm not joking. Like seriously, remember they were Bitcoin. Like I honestly think you're gonna get like the perfect inverse of that chart. Definitely Coinbase.
Right. Like here was the this was, and I've had I used to redo this chart just as another crazy idea everyone thought was going to take over the world. Like this was the best one. On May 20th, I plotted this with the Dow right there. And then about 5 days later, the Dow imploded and got hacked, right? So that was like most people's Mount Stupid moment of believing in Ethereum. But then it came back, right? And then I've had Steemit there, and I've had Zcash there, and the ICOs there. This was the McAfee one. So this was when McAfee came out with his own money with his face on it.
I think this is very sorry. I think this is very accurate. The reason that the market doesn't look like that, for example, for Ethereum, is that different people started at zero in different moments in time. So now you have to compose different ways by different people, and the curve that results is very chaotic. But I really like the Rodolfo's comment about Brian Armstrong being the opposite. That means that in a few years, Brian will be talking about Bitcoin to friends and alienated girlfriends and family. That's great.
Didn't they just announce something about Bitcoin again? They're becoming Bitcoin friendly again.
Yeah. So, but just in family and friends, like
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
Oh my God. Hey, Jason.
Oh, sorry. Is it morning yet? I'm still
Oh, we're outside.
waking up
Wait,
from
hold
New
on.
Year's.
I'm gonna stop screen share. Hey, Jason.
Hi, guys.
And how are you celebrating this birthday? What are you thinking about?
For New Year's, I'm thinking about why my tezies are not at 100 right now. Can we talk about that?
Gentlemen.
Oh, the Tezos thing. I have no idea what it's worth. But I just
Actually,
wanna...
what I'd like to discuss just for a moment is why Tone's like hair is on his face. What
It dropped. It's called gravity. It just rolled over.
I actually shaved my beard off.
I shifted it. I like this. I actually like this so much better.
Did you also like have your eyebrows plucked, Tone? Because it looks like you've had a little manscaping done.
They're still like 8 times bigger than yours.
This is true, but I just want to know if the shaving your head and the manscaping was your idea or Krista Rose's idea, because
my barber is taking care of it. Like, man, I went to my barber yesterday, and it's been like now, like, man, it's like I'm just gonna go going to the barber now. I've never taken care of my hair this well. Now that I don't have any.
Is that a Sharpie you used for your eyebrows, or is that like just for men that you used in your beard?
No, dude, it's like scary.
It's
an actual like blade, like it's an actual like razor.
Oh my God!
I'm talking about why your eyebrows are so dark and they look like you used Sharpie on them. Just put him like full screen for a second.
So do you use like a caliper to like?
I have this.
Hey, Tone, the price is finally dropping. And dropping hard.
1 second. I'm looking for some before I go to full screen, right? I mean, you prefer this, right? Hold on. There was man, I really don't want to go to Steam it. Shoot, hold on. I'm gonna do screen share again before I go to.
I guess we're gonna do 10 years of Tone's hair today.
Yeah, clearly. Hey, we got Jimmy Song on. Jimmy, join us. Hold on. I'm looking for this one specific thing. This one specific slide. I really don't want to go to the Steemit website, but that's where it was actually published, unfortunately.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Jimmy.
Welcome. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to the Genesis block.
Yeah.
We are looking at pictures of Tone, apparently.
Okay.
Well, we're trying to analyze his hairline and his eyebrows.
And the correlation with price, of course.
And the correlation to price, exactly. So Tone.
So somebody made a cartoon of Tone, is it? Who is it?
Well, no, Tone made a cartoon of himself by shaving his head and having his eyebrows sculpted. So we're
yes. Yeah, because this was so much better back when there were comics like this.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, Jimmy, since we have you,
win, man. You can't win.
What is exciting you most about the birthday today of the Genesis block? Do you think Satoshi would be proud of the improvements and development that has been made to date?
Well, I don't know, because I never really corresponded with Satoshi or anything, so it's hard for me to say anything on that regard. I will say though, I was really impressed with Giacomo singing in that Million Dreams video. Oh my goodness. Do you have like a background in opera or something, Giacomo? What's up?
No, the fact that I have been living for basically 10 years of marriage with a vocal coach, which is Mir. So she never taught me, but probably by osmosis I had to acquire something. But she was a professional at teaching people to sing.
All right, give us a taste.
No, no. Well,
Well, I mean, you need mirror on at the same time because I mean, like he was harmonizing on the high side there, like very much a tenor. Your voice never would have let me think that you're a tenor, but I was like, oh my gosh, this guy can, yeah, wow, that was the most impressive part of that video for me.
So when we will celebrate the Tones anniversary, which is the 16th with Luke, I will do a duet with Luke. Promise.
Oh my God. Hey, everybody, I got to run. I have to run. Jason, nice seeing you. Jimmy, Rodolfo, Giacomo, Tone. Have fun. This stream I will definitely be listening to later. And happy birthday. Bye, guys.
Bye, Leah.
Bye, Leah. Happy 10th.
Oh my gosh. Did you guys show that video online on this stream yet or no?
Which video?
The Million Dream Celebration video. Happy birthday, Bitcoin.
I haven't seen it. Well, can someone send me the link?
I'll send it in the chat right now. Give me 1 sec.
Well, let's watch it. I am looking forward to this.
Yeah, no. Like Giacomo's part is by far the most impressive. But yeah,
you're very good too, Jimmy. You're very good too, and also great surrounding choices like.
Samson asked me while I was in Sydney, so it was kind of like, okay, well, beautiful. Might as well like do the opera house in the background.
All right, let's we're gonna play the video, but just got a tipped question from someone with a Litecoin logo, and I've already tried explaining this on multiple occasions, but the question is the same. It says, if Litecoin is basically a much cheaper copy of Bitcoin, why would it not succeed long-term along with Bitcoin, both our Lightning network? Well, because you for me, it's easy. You just stated in your statement, Litecoin is a cheaper copy of Bitcoin. That's the problem, right? It's a cheap knockoff copy. That's why it's not going to succeed.
Well, it's less security. There's less mining. It's the block, like all the incentives are less ideal. You have the blocks being too close to each other. Like you have this, this mixed mash of like mining algo, and it's not ideal for ASICs. It's just that like Bitcoin achieved this equilibrium, right? Like it was just right on the incentives to do great. And if you're the second best, you often, there's only one winner. It's the winner. The second person in the podium is the loser.
Hold on a second. Henry Ford, when he finally invented the Model T, did a fantastic job, and he felt like nobody would ever need a car other than the Model T because it was the perfect car. And then somebody figured out hydraulic brakes, and somebody figured out that, you needed like better headlights, and, somebody figured out you needed to shift gears, things like that. And Henry Ford sat there forever and refused to change. And that allowed other car makers to be able to take market share and to improve and to give options and choices for people. So don't get me wrong, I'm a Bitcoin maximalist.
Except just a second. So
the market wants
Bitcoin
options.
Is not a car.
Okay, no shit. Don't be fucking obtuse, man. Of course, Bitcoin is not a car.
It's software.
What I'm saying is you can't be the only one. Oh, okay, so software. So let's all go back to MS-DOS then. Let's go back.
It's not comparable either.
Stupid argument.
Jason, but we have the equivalent of Bitcoin's Model T, right? That's Craig Wright's Bitcoin SV. He doesn't want any new technological code changes in Bitcoin at all. So there it is.
But you ask why Litecoin would succeed. And the reason why Litecoin would succeed, or why somebody would choose Litecoin, is because maybe they want a Chrysler instead of a fucking Ford.
No, that's a very bad comparison. It's it's a very bad comparison. Yeah.
Really? Chrysler was the first one to use hydraulics in his brakes.
Okay. You're comparing a closed proprietary product, which is the upper layer of the market layerization, with the base protocol, which is the other extreme. You have to compare Bitcoin with things like binary calculators, language.
Can I just say something? Because I'm going to have to go pretty soon. So what Jason's doing right now is basically pretending that Bitcoin is a technological innovation and not a monetary one.
Exactly.
Monetary innovations need to stay stable. That's the main feature. It doesn't change. Not that it, you know, like you get this new feature, bells and whistles or whatever.
Sure.
That's exactly the opposite of what you want in money. Okay,
like
that's what central banks have been doing for the last 100 years. And look how that's worked out for the dollar and everything else. That's exactly the wrong way to look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not primarily a technological innovation. It's a monetary innovation. And for money, staying stable, having the same rules for everybody is the key innovation. Now, Litecoin has been around a while, but it's mostly a copy of Bitcoin. And there's a network effect of scarcity. The more people that want Bitcoin, there's a much larger intolerant minority of people that own Bitcoin. Most people that own Litecoin also own Bitcoin because they're just sort of hedging, saying, okay, well, Litecoin has these 4 other features. It has 2.5-minute blocks. It uses script. It uses this. And, you know, it's a test net for Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. That's why they invest in it. But what they don't realize is that there's a huge intolerant minority within the Bitcoin network that's never going to buy Litecoin. That they're always going to be on Bitcoin, including people like me, Tone, and Giacomo. And
can I?
You know, protocols need to also.
I want to jump in here because I want to take that car analogy in a different direction. If you see the difference is when you're buying a different car, you're still using the same roads. You're still using the same somewhat regulation of learning how to drive. By using the car analogy, it's like you saying everyone is going to be like Venice. We're going to have tunnels of water, and it's not going to be cars. Everyone's going to use boats. That's what you're saying.
If you want to make an analogy,
what I realized here.
If you want to make an analogy,
I made a fucking mistake. And that I tried to talk about cars with a bunch of technical guys that probably don't even know where the brake fluid goes.
I love cars. I'm into cars too.
So if we think about Bitcoin protocol and we think about Litecoin, both the same time,
cars are fundamentally a technology. They're not a money.
Oh my God! Will you just get off that for a second? Let me finish.
No. You made a terrible analogy.
No, I didn't.
And it's not a technology. It's a monetary innovation.
You're telling me that Bitcoin is not a technology?
Here's one for you.
It's primarily a technological innovation, and
of course it is.
No,
primarily a monetary original Merkle white paper. Of course, it's a fucking technology.
No. The main white paper again, because the main reason that Satoshi made the whole thing was so that it would be a decentralized money. Okay, it would be.
No. You got to go back further.
Like a central bank. What you're saying is,
you have to go back to the Merkle paper.
That could be tweaked all the time. That could be changed around. That somebody else can control. That's completely the wrong way to look at Bitcoin. Anyone that has invested in Bitcoin did it because there's a provable scarcity. That there's a credible scarcity around 21 million. If you have. Yeah, of course that is.
The people that invested in Bitcoin did it because somebody told them that it was cool, that it was World of Warcraft money, and somebody.
Is that why you did it? Because I mean that would explain everything right there.
Oh, really?
Okay. So Jason, really? Do you want? Hang on. Do you want an analogy? It's not a perfect one, but it's a little bit closer. Okay, it's TCP/IP.
I know TCP/IP.
The internet works because TCP/IP ossified very early. So it gave room for everybody else to grow and attach themselves to the same network.
Yeah, but do you understand the technology behind the original X95 protocol that the internet?
Nobody uses X95.
Of course. But what you're saying is that in your fucking analogy, we should go back to X95 because that's Bitcoin.
No. TCP/IP was before all the clones and the protocol wars of the 90s. TCP/IP started in the 70s, and version 4.
Keep going back further to X95.
No, but it started before. It was the original network. That's why it got all the network effect among the open standards.
It's the first one. You can talk about dates, but it doesn't matter. It's the first one that achieved some network size, right? So it got the network effect. And then once you have the network effect, or you're part of the same game, you're not going to reinvest in new infrastructure to adopt a new thing. Right?
So let's go back to the original question,
it's a
right?
protocol.
Which was,
so it's a protocol
is Litecoin going to succeed?
No, we won't. So
No.
But hold on. Why not?
We're on to much bigger fish right now because you're arguing that it's a technology, that it's like a car or something. We're all saying that's completely wrong. Yeah. And I don't think you understand it yet. So we're going to argue.
You're telling me, you're trying to tell me that I don't know what Bitcoin is.
A 2014.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you because you're thinking that it's a technology.
Jason, you're bringing a 2014 deadbeat horse argument.
Yeah, blockchain, not Bitcoin kind of thing. Yep.
It's just, we had, seriously, we spent, I think, all 2014 arguing about this. It's like beating on a dead horse, man.
But hold on. If that's the case, why didn't Litecoin fail back in 2014?
It did.
Nobody has it anymore.
It's not the winner. It's not the winner. There's one winner.
What you guys are forgetting is that there doesn't need to be a winner.
Yes,
it doesn't have to be a winner. No, there doesn't. Thank you, Henry Ford. You just proved my fucking point.
Oh, okay. No. Again, you're once again going back to the technology argument. Almost all countries converge on the gold standard before legal tender laws.
Nobody's using the gold standard anymore.
That's it. No. But until governments force everybody to use dollars.
Let's go back then. If you want to talk about monetary policy and monetary innovation, let's go all the way back to where we didn't even use fucking currencies and all we did was barter wheat and fucking meat.
Okay, when did that happen exactly? When did that happen? Tell me exactly.
10,000
That did not happen 10,000 years ago. If you look at the very first writings, almost all
Jimmy,
historical evidence points to the fact,
Jimmy, because that means your argument's better if you yell louder. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Like distract everyone from the actual argument you're making because it's absolutely horrible. See, if you look at history, nobody actually knows of a civilization that worked on a barter system, and that's only happened during hyperinflation when money's actually worthless. If you look at actual writings about,
you're trying to tell me that two people have never bartered anything for commerce.
No. You're talking about an economy, okay? Money has almost always existed, okay? As far as we know in human civilization, it's more ancient than you think. And if you think you know about monetary policy, you know about as much about it as Bitcoin, as far as I can tell. So there you go.
So the thing is that barter is incredibly inefficient, and that's the reason why you don't want barter. In order to establish any meaningful economy, you need catallaxy. You need one single good that assumes the role of money among other goods. So you want to sell Model T and other cars and other things that are not cars, but you don't want to use multiple forms of money. You want to converge because money is a very, very powerful unified language in order to avoid barter. So since you don't want barter, the only option to barter is a slow convergence of the market across one single standard. And gold has been that standard for thousands and thousands of years. The only reason gold had silver as a, let's say, companion was that gold, physical gold, had a serious trade-off between divisibility and storability. You cannot store the wealth of your family in silver because it will be too large, and you cannot pay coffee with gold because it will be powder. So you had a trade-off between divisibility and storability. With Bitcoin, which is digital, you don't have that trade-off anymore. And so Bitcoin doesn't need any kind of silver companion. Just like gold stopped having any need for silver when we started to use virtual gold in paper gold. Since paper gold is easy to divide, there is no need for silver anymore. And back to the original question, the guy is asking why we do have different measures of money like nickels and stuff like that. And that's the same that's the same of speaking of different units of Bitcoin like Satoshis or bits like
it was just easier to divide. That's all. It was just an easier way to divide. So much that some countries had like even different names for the denominations. Right, the sterling versus the pound. Now you can even go back even further. Like talk about salt. Right, salt started just because it was scarce in areas that had no seawater. Now, then because it was actually fairly shelf stable and you could transport quite a bit, you could use it as a means to not use something else because it is very hard to transport value. Right, and that's what a consensus protocol does. You can transport value in a very efficient way, and you can't do that with your car example. It's just two separate things.
Okay, you guys literally took the car and ran it off the road. I'm talking about the business model.
Always cars. Always.
Oh yeah, of course. There's a business model around Bitcoin. Yeah.
No, Jimmy, just shut the fuck up for a second and let me finish a sentence. Jesus Christ.
There go the civility non sequitur.
Oh, nobody has ever accused me of having a clean mouth. That's for sure. Now listen. When Henry Ford refused,
all right, guys, I gotta go.
Models of change. Okay. See you. Bye-bye. Be good. Bye. Happy New Year. Happy birthday. So
happy everything for everybody.
Yeah. So the point is that let's take a look. If I am to accept your argument, which I don't, that Bitcoin is a monetary system and not a value transfer protocol, and it's not a technology. If I'm to accept that,
that's a wrong way to phrase my. You're framing my argument in a very terrible way. Jimmy, go with the straw man. Go for it.
Jimmy, hold on. Look, you and I don't think have ever really met or ever talked, and I don't think we've ever interacted with each other. But I think Tone knows I'm a fairly reasonable person, and most people in the space know that I have a pretty decent brain on me, and I understand this shit pretty well. Now, Bitcoin is a value transfer protocol. That's what it was designed to be. Value transfer protocol, right? Without that protocol, without that ability to be a protocol, without it being a technology, it doesn't exist. It's an amorphous idea in people's heads that's captured within a technological component, right? So to say that it's a monetary value system or a monetary policy system, which is what I thought I heard you say, isn't correct because it's a technology first.
Well, you've done a great job of burning down that straw man, but
Jimmy,
what I
tell me
said
what
was
your
that
argument was, because maybe I didn't
monetary innovation. Of course, money has a technological component to it. Even gold was a technology improvement over, salt or something like that. Because
what I don't understand, Jimmy, is explain to me what the monetary innovation is behind Bitcoin that isn't just a modified version of what our already existing monetary policy is.
Well, you have the ability to digitally transfer it, but it's mainly
right now with this. I got this. I can digitally transfer money with that. Tell me how it's fucking different than that.
It's different because it's decentralized. That is the main innovation of.
Okay, so the ACH and SWIFT networks are wire transfers are not controlled by one system. You've got multiple banks that are in that in a mesh system doing that. There's an
but there's a central bank that actually controls the whole thing. So that there you go. It's a centralized system.
So Jason, in order to answer.
They're at the center. They're called the central bank because they're a bank for all the banks.
No, Jimmy.
Yeah, what decentralized means.
Jimmy, shut up and let me agree with you, okay? Jesus Christ. So we obviously know that within the traditional banking system that there are people that have control, right? So let's take your same analogy and let's take your same argument. Sorry, not analogy, argument. And let's look at who controls the majority of Bitcoin mining that actually controls the network. Who has the majority of the mining? You already know the answer. Don't be afraid to shout it out.
I don't know the mining stats currently.
Until last year, probably Bitmain, but this year is really unclear with the Bitmain mess up. So
right. So the original intent, getting back to one of the previous questions, is what do you think Satoshi would think about the network today? Right. The original intent was a decentralized value transfer protocol system. And
I correct you. Value transfer and value representation, because the mining part also creates the monetary base. It's not just about transfer.
I don't know why you keep saying value transfer system like you're a Bcasher or something. I'm
not a fucking Bcasher.
Really? I don't think it's just about value transfer. It's about being able to store value for yourself. Yeah. It's monetary innovation. It's decentralized digital money. That's what it is. That's the main innovation.
Again, we're saying the same thing, but here I am taking the argument for why Litecoin should exist is that not everybody wants to transfer their value or store their value in Bitcoin. They want to store it in something else. And as we said earlier, Litecoin is a clone and a modification of the original Bitcoin protocol.
But that's an argument for DentaCoin as well, and for
absolutely, it's an argument for DentaCoin.
Okay,
and if somebody wants DentaCoin, let them have fucking DentaCoin.
Okay,
Because if you say that everybody needs to have Bitcoin, then you're no better than the central bank systems themselves.
No, nobody's discussing force.
Oh no, you just said no other cryptocurrencies can succeed.
Nobody's proposing force or coercion. We are saying that if you want to analyze what is the big game dynamic, you need to follow some kind of economic laws, not because I'm forcing you to follow it, but because the market will probably follow economic laws. So if you want to take heroin, a physician will not tell you that you can't and is going to stop you with force. It can explain you medicine and biology laws, explaining you that eventually you will die for overdose or other things. So if you think that you can,
I have no idea where you're going with this. I mean,
it's not coercion. I'm going with the fact that it's not coercion. It's about
Jason, you're making it sound like we're forcing everybody to use Bitcoin. We're just saying that economic incentives are such.
No. What I'm saying is when you get on stage or you go on the air and all you do all the time is tell people that Bitcoin is the only coin that should succeed. You don't think
that it will succeed, not it should. It's not.
No. But by you saying it will succeed, you're trying to be a market shaper.
You keep strawmanning. I don't like.
I don't even think you know what that word means.
Oh, thanks for the insult there. Yeah. You keep twisting our arguments and denying those instead of actually saying what we are saying.
What are you saying? Tell me what you're saying about Litecoin.
Because you're
in 30 seconds or less. Can you do that in 30 seconds?
I'm not gonna go through your restrictions or whatever. If I want to speak for more than 30 seconds, that's my prerogative.
No. What I'm saying is you can consolidate your argument instead of running all over
and then changing them around and then denying those and saying, "Oh, you're saying that everyone is forced to use Bitcoin." Oh, I think that's stupid.
By the way, that's not called a straw man. That's called a paper. That's a paper.
Well, whatever you're doing is very much against the spirit of honest debate. And I don't like debating people that are twisting arguments. And
Jimmy, I watched you debate Roger Ver, and you were a complete ass.
No, well, I mean, you're just like you're being right now. Yeah, thanks.
Well, listen, I came on here at Tone's invitation in order to discuss this. We were asked a question why Litecoin should exist or not. You guys instantly started saying that it's not valid, that there's only one.
You're twisting things again.
I said,
why is Litecoin going to win?
I said the reason that Litecoin
and are two different questions. And what you're doing right now is twisting it so that you sound better. And that's not honest right here. What you're doing is trying to say, okay, you know what?
Once again, yell louder so your argument.
Non sequitur again, right? About civility. Yeah, go ahead.
Jimmy, your mic is overgaining. I can't hear you because you're yelling in your mic.
Well, I mean, whatever. I mean, if you can't hear me, that's not my problem. Turn down your speaker. Whatever you have to do.
You're overgaining your mic.
You're coming in. Your mic is coming in hard. Look, guys. Okay, I'm gonna. This was fun, but we have to. Okay, we can have a. We can have a civil debate over Litecoin. I wouldn't mind having this debate. I think that if there is an altcoin that's worth debating, whether it's going to whether it's going, not necessarily overtake Bitcoin. I don't think anyone wants to take on that argument, right? But I think there could be a reasonable debate whether Litecoin and Monero, I guess those are the only two current potential debatable competitors. Maybe somebody wants to make an argument for Decred. That seems to be the hot one these days, right? Somebody could make a reasonable debate whether those things will still be around in 10 years or something that is that we don't know of yet that will be around in 10 years and is going to be somewhat popular.
Ton, I think we should make it
like in Venice compared to everybody else driving.
Ton, I think we should make a distinction because it's a straw man to think that maximalists think that scam coins are not going to be around in an absolute term. Just like Rodolfo said, I mean, there is people trading Aurora coin already. There is people trading wrong mistake of post stamps from the 60s. So collectibles never really go away. So it's possible that even if there will be nobody mining Litecoin in 10 years, maybe somebody will trade Litecoin private keys without even mining, just because it's a collectible. So it's not that it's going to disappear. They will stay there.
Giacomo, no, I don't care who's trading what. Like, I don't give a shit if people are trading Aurora coin, right? We're talking about, will Litecoin or Monero or another altcoin going to be economically viable so that people around the world are actually using it for something other than trading? Like, that's what we're talking about now.
Absolutely unrealistic. Absolutely unrealistic.
My position is...
Tone, hold on. So what you didn't include in your list of coins was Ethereum. And I want to know whether or not you want to include various protocols that have simultaneous purposes of some secondary function that includes an economic transfer component within that.
No, I think that is actually insane. And I go back.
Why is that insane?
Back to like one of my favorite Seyfedin statements. Like, I don't really care about the Zimbabwe dollar because it has an extra utility of being better toilet paper than the American dollar. Like, that's one of my favorite statements, right? I do believe that there needs to be a money component. I mean, otherwise, why weren't we using Amazon stock as money up to this point?
Also, Ether has a zero utility among money, because Ether is only used in the context of, it would be used if anybody was using dApps. It will be used in order to pay gas for dApps, but you can pay Ethereum miner off band with dollars or Bitcoin or whatever. So there is zero utility in Ether, which is not directly monetary utility, which of course doesn't exist, but Ethereum proponents, they think that eventually Ethereum will be used as money to pay for gas, to pay for dApps. Of course, this is crazy because dApps are stupid by design, but that's a monetary function anyway.
Jeremy, I'm sorry. Jason, let me give you one more terrible example of having money and utility. Like, everyone has been hyping up M-Pesa, which is, oh my God, Kenya is using cell phone minutes for money. I don't understand how that's not the dumbest thing ever, because sooner or later, someone's going to come into Kenya with an unlimited number of cell phone minutes and destroy their economy of using cell phone minutes.
You're mistaken there, because M-Pesa actually works with M-Pesa. They have a bank at the back end that actually transfers it. It's not minutes anymore. That was how it began. But that's not that. It's actually when you value transfer M-Pesa over, it's actually Pesa's on the back end of some bank that actually transfers between two accounts. So
because of that, if it would have stayed utility and money, somebody would have showed up with unlimited number of pay minutes and destroyed their economy.
Because with utility, you want more. If you produce more utility, the economy is growing. So you want more utility. But with money, you don't want more, because otherwise you are inflating. So utility and money are critically different things. You want to replicate utility, and you want to have harmony, which is difficult to replicate, unprintable.
Well, can I get back here? Yeah. So the question you're asking, Tone, is blocked by the fact that we don't really know what dead means. And that means that
calm down.
Try not to scream. Just like talk normally, please.
I am talking normally. I don't know. Maybe I did something with my mic here. Is that better? I don't know.
No. Now you sound too low.
All right. Somewhere around here.
No, right there.
Try to stay one distance from the mic.
I was adjusting the gain. That was all.
Perfect.
Anyway. I think the big thing that we're running up against is that we haven't really defined what dead means. And really dead can mean that nobody, like the coin is completely dead. No one's mining it. No one is transferring it. The blockchain is lost, et cetera, or it can mean something like everyone is using it as a store of value, or everyone, like nobody is using it as a store of value, but they're still like transferring it back and forth for some reason or another, or it can mean something in between. The thing that Giacomo pointed out, which is very, very true, is that no coin really ever dies in this space, because as long as one person mines a block like once every year or so, it continues to live in one sense or the other.
We don't care about those. We don't care about those.
Yeah, but you need to define it strictly, because otherwise, like, there's a very
like I said, useful.
So Jimmy, what we call those are zombie coins. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean,
I have seen in two different circumstances, and I can't and I can't recall who they are. One of them may have been a Zencash spinoff, but I've seen at least 2 zombie coins get revived, relit, and have accelerated their
NEM. NEM was the biggest one. NEM fully died until a bunch of scammers got a hold of it and they revived it.
Yeah. So
for trading purposes.
Exactly.
Sorry, Jason, I interrupt you just for 1 second because I have to go. So it was a pleasure to be on this special day, and let's talk maybe tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Giacomo.
Bye.
Bye, Giacomo. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, too bad we didn't get to watch the video with him.
Oh,
But
yeah, I still haven't played the video. Jesus Christ, I should have asked that question after the damn video. I know.
Well, what was the question was, are there any altcoins that are going to be around in 10, was it 10 years you wanted to know?
Well,
you still haven't defined dead yet. So I don't think we can really answer that question until we know what's really dead, or what you consider not useful or whatever.
Trading at $0.00001 US dollars and only has like 1 transfer every 30 days. Can we use that as a definition of dead?
I think very few things will be dead then, because I mean that's a very, very low number. I mean that's like less than the cost of a grain of sand or something. I'm
well,
sure
maybe we can define it differently. So for example,
can I define it? Can I give you a definition?
Yeah.
How about greater than 3%, like worth, like greater than 3% of Bitcoin's like market cap while being actively traded?
Greater than 3% of Bitcoin's market cap while being actively traded.
What actually falls into that category today?
Like Ethereum, Litecoin.
Yeah, most of them are above that number. Let me see.
Pull up coin market cap real quick.
Like Bitcoin is only like 60%, right? So the other 30% is made up of the other top 10. But it has to be actively traded, right? You can't like trade like 1 coin for $1 and have 1 billion coins in the back. It has to have
so out of those, so currently it would be Ethereum, Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, EOS, and Stellar that would qualify under your criteria. So
Monero?
No, because right now
Not
Bitcoin has
Litecoin.
$67 billion market cap. So that means 3% of that is roughly 2 billion or so.
And by the way, Monero wouldn't even qualify under that definition.
Yeah, Monero and Litecoin wouldn't qualify today.
No, because 3% is quite a bit, actually.
So, Tone, have you told Fluffy that Monero's dead? Have you informed him of that yet?
Sorry. Yes, I have. No, I have. Like again, right? Like I'm okay. I'm happy with that definition. And if Monero and Litecoin don't meet that definition, they're pretty much dead. I'm sorry. I don't care about your project if it's less than 3%. Like again, like if your credit card, for example, if your credit card is less than 3% of transactions in your country, how relevant is that credit card?
It's relevant for the people that are using it.
For whatever dumb reason they're using it, why would they?
Because that's where they chose to do business. It's a free fucking market, Tom. You goddamn communist.
But they're irrelevant to the economy of that country.
I mean, so I think, Tone, like 3% is kind of an arbitrary cutoff. And I'm not sure that really captures like the cryptocurrency market, because
let's lower it to 2. Let's lower it to 2. Let's lower it to 1. You guys want the top 20 in there? I'm okay with that. Let's lower it to 1 because I think none of them are going to be.
Dash is actively trading at $81. It doesn't even come close to your arbitrary mark. Monero's
at 1%. Dash would just make a cut. So Dash would, everything Dash and above would be up.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. This is what I mean. They are irrelevant to me now. Litecoin is irrelevant to me now. It's irrelevant to the economy of the crypto space. It is irrelevant to the economy of the world, while Bitcoin isn't. So I am perfectly okay with that 3% definition. Ethereum is clearly still relevant to the world, at least to the world of crypto, because people still believe in Ethereum.
How the fuck does can we just change subjects for a second? Because I'm staring at Ripple and I'm still throwing my hands up, wondering why that thing even exists.
Yeah,
we all agree. We all agree with you, Jason.
I don't think we really understand that either. But regardless, if you make it at about 3%, then you're really only asking whether Ethereum, Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, EOS, and Stellar will fall below that 3% mark in the next 10 years.
Well,
and
no,
if that's
there's also Jason, there's also something else I'm asking. The bigger question is, will Litecoin or Monero or anything else come up into that 3% range is the main question. So I think the biggest thing is to Jason, right now, Litecoin does not fit my definition of being economically relevant.
It's right at the border, though, just so you know. It's like 1.9 billion, 2 billion is what it needs.
Do you think in 5 years, Litecoin will be 3% of Bitcoin's market cap while being actively traded, right? Like, for example, if 3 Litecoins trade in a day at a price of like $10, that doesn't count. It has to be actively used and traded.
So the conflated conversation that usually happens within the crypto world, within the securities world, commodities world, et cetera, is at one moment somebody wants to call Bitcoin a store of value, and its only value is if you hold on to it. Somebody else says that its purpose is if you're able to trade it or transact in it. And another says it's only got value if it's going to 10x PAMP at any point in time. So I find it hard to nail down what the psychology of Bitcoin is within a market that's so distracted by what the daily price is. If Bitcoin is the standard, right? And gold is a standard, and gold is actively traded, but not as much as Bitcoin is actively traded on a daily basis. And that's probably reflected in the price. But we also have people that hold and trade silver, people that hold and trade copper. Oh, there's even people that go out and hold and trade steel, and they melt it down and they sell it for scrap. And for those people, that has value, and they'll come to your house and they'll pick up your scrap metal and they'll take it happily, and they'll convert that into currency that they're able to live off of. So I think what we have is some form of a judgment value here, Tone, that you don't think that any of these other coins will have any value to anybody else. But that psychology is flawed, because you're not going to be able to capture all the psychology of all the people that are ever going to hold altcoins and why they hold them and why they trade them. So if you're looking to tell your viewers which ones are going to have the most value, that's roll the dice and who the fuck knows.
Jason, I'm a trader. I know why they trade them. I know why people trade.
Oh, you do?
Okay. Like, yeah, you trade to make money. You don't trade for fun. You trade, I mean, unless you're really, really bored. You trade to make money, right? Sure. So can we just take trading out of it, right? Other than the purpose of price discovery, right? I want to take trading out of it. I want to talk about whether Litecoin existing and being less than 3% of all of global transactions compared to Bitcoin is economically useful to the world.
All right, wait. Before we finish, I literally have to go in like the next 2 minutes. Let me just say, Jason seems to have this notion that all coins are actually useful for something other than trading. I completely disagree. Almost everything that has quote unquote utility can be done much better, faster, cheaper, decentralized with a centralized system rather than a decentralized system. So I think that premise is completely wrong. And I'll just leave it at that. As far as money goes, Bitcoin is the only one that's actually decentralized. Everything else has a creator. Everything else has some sort of a central committee that decides on like what features to put in. They hard fork regularly, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that all of those coins, the 5 coins that we listed, I think they will drop below 3%, but that tail might be very long. There might be a lot more coins. Almost assuredly, there will be like hundreds of other coins invented in the next 10 years, including one launching today. There's a Mimblewimble coin called Grin that's launching literally today. There's another Mimblewimble one called Grin coming up in like another 2 weeks, and so on. Those will all capture value at some point because it's going to be a very long tail. There's going to be a lot of people that are still kind of working off of hopium that are saying, oh, this will be the next Bitcoin, and therefore I'm going to get rich off of it, or it'll spike like Ethereum. Maybe I can get out at the top. Basically, they're using it as a vehicle of gambling or speculation or what have you. Bitcoin is the one that will capture most of the value eventually. Will it be 10 years from that? I don't know. I don't know how irrational the market will be or how much hopium everyone has. So that's my take on the subject. I have to go, guys. Thanks for the conversation.
Jimmy,
Hey, Jimmy, sorry for getting your heart rate up on this. This is the dysfunctional birthday that we all love and accept from the world of Bitcoin and crypto. It was but yes. Hey, Jason, stick around. I do want to finish up this conversation.
Sure, Jimmy, pleasure. We'll talk again.
Yeah. Indeed, we will. Bye, Jason.
Bye bye. Okay, hey Jason, I gotta take a 2-minute break. I have my speaker up and loud, so I will hear you. So go ahead and make your case without any interruptions for why you think altcoins will be economically viable. Besides the fact that people need a choice, sure, but again, we're talking about whether it's economically useful. I would love to hear you make that case and
See, this is where I'm going to get murdered on what my definition of utility is. So, yeah, altcoins serve a purpose because of a few different things. One, and I know there's some people that don't like Bcash, but Bcash serves a purpose in merchant services, value transactions, et cetera. Some people don't like Monero. That's an altcoin, but it serves the privacy component and serves certain demographic and geographic locations where Bitcoin isn't feasible. Some people want to have private transactions and they don't want their fingerprints all over transactions. So they want some form of anonymity that Bitcoin just no longer provides. So various altcoins can do that. Some people want their altcoin to be a trading card. So fine, have it be a trading card. I think the reckless thought is to consider that Bitcoin is the only one or the only one that actually has any utility or any value. Just like, and some people may not like my Henry Ford argument, but to think that Bitcoin is the only one is the same mindset that Henry Ford had in thinking that the Model T was the perfect car. That thought process, not the car, but the thought process is what failed there and caused Henry Ford significant market share. And that's the dangerous thinking in that point. In the meantime, you can see the blind dog in the background of my son. I think he's trying to feed him. But maybe now that Tone is back, he can comment on a few of those things.
Okay, so let me comment on a few of those. So the reason why Bitcoin is not a Model T is because
No, I didn't say Bitcoin is a Model T. That's the same fucking mistake Jimmy made, and you're going to go down the same goddamn path. I said it's the thinking. The thinking that Bitcoin is the only one and you don't need anything else. That thinking is what failed Henry Ford and why he waited so long on the Model T. So if people think that Bitcoin is the only thing people need, that's the same thinking. Henry Ford said the Model T was the only thing they ever need, right? And that was wrong. It was just wrong, right? So long as Bitcoin has ridiculously slow block times, has transactions that are backed up for 48 hours at a time whenever anybody wants to do something fucked up, stupid with the network, you're going to have people that look at Bitcoin and say, this is the most stupidest fucking thing on the planet. Why am I using this? It takes forever. And I'd be faster off using a wire transfer from my bank. And I tested this. 2 months ago, I sent half a Bitcoin and I did a wire transfer simultaneously through my bank. My wire transfer cost less and got there sooner than Bitcoin.
2 months ago.
Yeah,
I find that very difficult to believe because for the last 6 months, I've been all my transactions have been incredibly fast and incredibly cheap. Okay.
When you say incredibly fast, what do you mean? 10 minutes, 20 minutes?
Hey, I'm not sending millions of dollars, right? So to me, I don't need a confirmation.
Oh, no. Listen, this is the argument that it's faster, right? So through my phone, I can send. Hold on a second. I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to send $200 to my son. He's in the other room. Jonas, open up your phone, okay? And when the $200 hits your account, open up your USAA account. When it hits your account, I want you to say woohoo, okay? Can you do that? We're going to do a live test of how long it takes to send $200 to my son and how much it costs. Because I hate these fucking arguments because they're stupid. They fail. that Bitcoin has better utility than the existing banking system. It doesn't.
Well, I'm not making that argument. I'm not saying that it has. When you send $200 through a banking system to your son,
yep,
that's not necessarily the best comparison, right?
Why not?
Well, because when people pay me for my workshops, I don't know who those people are.
Yeah, they're sending you a tenth of a Bitcoin at a time, right? That's $300. I'm not going to send my son $300. He wasn't that good today.
Oh, you're sending him 200. What's the big difference?
Here we go. Okay, so I'm punching it in. I'm going to hit the transfer button now. Submitting. Okay, this says that it's done. Jonas, did you get it?
I am updating as we go.
Ah, it's done. You know how much it cost me? 0. Not 1 dime, because my bank offers free wire transfers for me.
Woohoo!
He just said woohoo. And we don't have to wait for any confirmations. It's done.
Yeah, but you have your son on file with the bank, right?
Sure.
Right. So you have to, to the thousands of people you may be interacting with over the next 2 months, you got to get their personal information into the bank, right?
You mean their account number and routing number? Or do you mean like a wallet address? Come on, right, we can do this all day, Tone.
No, we could.
Let's get back on track. What were we talking about? Oh, right, the Henry Ford argument. Bitcoin is not a Model T. It's the thinking that I'm talking about, not the car. It's the thought process. Let's make that clear.
So if Henry Ford's thought process was the car is the only thing you're going to need, would you have a big problem with that? If he didn't say Model T, if he said the car.
Yes, I would have a problem with that because that discounts planes, trains, ships, bikes, horses, other modes of transportation. It's closed-minded. It's very myopic.
Sure, but here in America, he's been right for about 100 years, right? It has been the #1 mode of transportation for over 100 years, right?
Sure, Tone. Yes. This is called setting up a paper tiger. You changed my argument, set it up to one that you could win, and you knocked it down. That was what Jimmy was saying that I was doing. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying that, like, because you were focusing on the fact that it was one specific car that didn't innovate, and I'm just saying that, but Bitcoin is constantly innovating. That's how we got user-activated software.
Bitcoin is not constantly innovating. That's not a true statement.
No, it is a true statement.
Bitcoin constantly. When's the last time there was a code change?
Well, you have to be careful so you don't fuck up the entire thing, right?
No shit, listen, right? So you can't constantly change the network.
No,
it's easier to change Bitcoin by cloning it, duplicating it, instituting what change you want, and launching it either on a test chain or in an alternative market to see if it's useful and if people want it. That's easier to do than changing the Bitcoin network, which is why we have Bitcoin Cash today.
Of course.
Right?
And of course. And this is why Bitcoin Cash is worth less than 3% of the value of a Bitcoin. Right?
Yeah, but there's still people that use it. There's still people that want it. And for whatever reason, we don't have to determine what their reason is. But Bitcoin Cash, where is it? Bitcoin Cash is the #4 cryptocurrency.
I got people that there's people that want to pay you in silver. It doesn't mean that it's a useful thing to do.
Well, unless I want to be paid in silver. I've been paid in Ethereum. You told me that Ethereum is not a currency and it doesn't work for a payment system, and maybe Giacomo did. But that's horseshit. I know a lot of people that accept Ethereum as payments. Within the space, right? We have to remember we're talking about the closed universe of the cryptocurrency universe, which is an incredibly small universe, right?
I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying that economically and technologically, Bitcoin will continue to separate from the altcoins, and not altcoins continue to be more and more useful. My point is this: right now, we just did that 3% experiment, right? And Litecoin was on the border, just missed out, right?
No, I think that was if it was 2%, wasn't it?
No, with 3%, Litecoin missed the cut. With 2%, Litecoin gets in.
Okay, so let's look at 67 million, right? I was going to do this earlier, or 67 billion.
You can just do 67 versus 2, right? You don't need to. Oh. Just do 2 divided by 67.
So anything at 3%, anything over a 2 billion, 2.010 billion meets your criteria.
So Litecoin just missed it. Litecoin is the odd one out. Okay?
Today. Yeah, today.
Today, right. My point is this.
Tether misses it, right?
Yeah, so Litecoin misses it.
But Bitcoin Cash is in there.
Yeah,
Bitcoin Cash in there. Stellar's in there.
Right. Well, Bitcoin Cash is in there today. Like 2 weeks ago, it wasn't, because the Bitcoin Cash went up like 150%, right? So Bitcoin Cash is in there today. 2 weeks ago, it wasn't. Litecoin might have been there 2 weeks ago. It's not there today, right? I mean, these things are fluctuating back and forth at the moment. Okay?
Yeah.
My point is this. My point is over time, over the next 5 years, I don't want to put a strict date on it, right? As time continues to progress, eventually none of these coins will be above 3%. Okay? Like
allegedly, that's your prediction?
Correct. Okay? So what I'm saying is Bitcoin will separate and everything else is going to come down. So everything will be outside of the 3% range. Okay? I want someone to tell me why Litecoin would slowly increase that number. Like right now, like today, Litecoin is out of the 3%. Next year, Litecoin is in the 3%. And over time, it will slowly go up to maybe 4, then 5, then 6. But some people think it can take over. And I'm just using Litecoin. It doesn't have to be Litecoin. It could be something else, right? My view is that Bitcoin is innovating every day at a faster rate than any other coin. Now, you don't see... Oh, wait. Stop. Jason, wait. Let me finish.
Wow, that's a huge statement.
Let me finish. Bitcoin is innovating at a faster rate than any other coin. The difference is that it's harder to get those changes in, but when they eventually come in, they leapfrog everything. And most of those changes are the changes that other coins take up. Now, the other part that you
I've just logged into the Bitcoin GitHub and I'm trying to see when the last even attempt at a true code modification was that matters.
But I don't go by code modifications that enter the system. I'm talking about the number of people that are working on these things privately before they even go into the GitHub.
Okay, so you mean the number of people that are sitting in a back room jerking off saying what if on the test net? You think that's innovation in Bitcoin? That's not. That's a bunch of guys sitting in the back room jerking off, not doing anything. I'm talking about innovation that actually goes into the off-the-shelf, in the market, usable product. Okay? And Bitcoin is a slow-ass motherfucker, and you know that.
No, I completely disagree with you on that, right? It's a trade-off between safety, right? So what you just described in the back of the room, that's exactly what the old coins are doing, right? Like they don't care what they put in because they don't care if their shit just goes to zero and implodes.
Really? You don't think Bitcoin Cash was well thought out?
God, no.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we can disagree. We can disagree.
Like, again, no one uses Bitcoin Cash.
Really? No one uses it. That's a bold statement, Tom. They've had $261 million of volume in the last 24 hours. There's been over 17 of the 17 million Bitcoin Cash in supply.
Trading volume other than price discovery has no actual function other than people trying to make money on trading and price discovery.
Which is what you said people do. Right? Yeah, but show me another fucking use case then for Bitcoin. Show me a use case for Bitcoin other than trading. People
paying people for services and
people for Bitcoin
products, and
they can do that with Bitcoin Cash. They can do that with Monero. They can do that with Litecoin. They can do that with Ethereum. They can do that with any.
They can do that. They can probably still do that with eGold, but nobody does.
But you can.
Sure.
This gets back into the barter system, right? You and I can agree that I'm going to give you X amount of Litecoin because you accept the risk of being able to liquidate it out and off ramp it into whatever you want, or trade it into Bitcoin or something else, right? That's our transaction between each other. That is a free market, right? Not mandating or suggesting that the only free market choice is going to be Bitcoin down the line. Don't you understand? I mean, it's fucking gaslighting, Tone. What are you doing? And maybe this is sacrilege on the 10th birthday for me to be saying, yes, I'm a Bitcoin maximalist, but at the same time, it'd be fucking obtuse for me to even contemplate or suggest to somebody that there aren't going to be any other options out there because the almighty Bitcoin is going to be the only one. That's just ridiculous. Again, that's Henry Ford thinking. That's Henry Ford thinking the Model T is the only car anybody's ever going to want. What happens when, and it's finished, that every wallet address and every person's been mapped out by the government, or the majority of people have been mapped out by the government that have Bitcoin wallet addresses, and they know who it is, and all the anonymity is gone. People keep using Bitcoin.
Have you not kept up with the latest innovations that will soon get into Bitcoin that will be more anonymous than Monero?
No. That's a wallet function, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when is that going into play, and who's going to use it, and how does it affect the network?
It's already in play, Wasabi.
No. Is it active in the network now?
Yeah, use the Wasabi wallet on every transaction that comes in.
Right. So now I have to switch and move all my shit to another wallet, right?
You don't have to. It's a free market choice if you want to.
Exactly. Right. But that's not a Bitcoin innovation. That's a wallet innovation.
On the Bitcoin protocol designed by the smartest engineers, which are doing the Bitcoin.
Looks like David wants to get into the conversation. He just messaged in.
Oh, my bad. All right. Hey, David.
David Silver. Happy friggin' New Year, man.
This is turning into the law show.
I just missed Jason. I just want to say hello.
What's up, man? Look, the last couple times I've been in Florida, you've been ducking me, David. We were supposed to get together for drinks. I was there for a week. You were like, yeah, okay, we got time. And then, oh, when are you leaving? Like the 2 hours before I'm supposed to leave. When were you leaving? Oh, I'm already gone. It's like, fuck, my bad. Way to go, David. Thanks.
Damn little kids.
Right? I was hanging out with Joseph the whole time. We had some of the most amazing conversations.
Yeah, and how's this argument going against Joseph?
What do you mean?
Have you tried convincing him that there's going to be other viable altcoins?
Oh, he knows there's going to be viable altcoins because he's a realist, not a myopic.
For purposes other than trading.
Like sure. And I think one of the ones that he would cite would be Monero, right? Because look, Tone, you're a smart guy. You understand markets. You also understand brand loyalty, right? Market penetration and brand loyalty.
I don't necessarily care for brand loyalty. If I find a better brand, I'm going to switch.
No. When you're taking into account your securities trading algorithms, you're not taking into account what the market wants and brand loyalty. So when Apple launches a new product, you're not going, shit, I need to go buy Apple stock because I know there's going to be people lined up down the street for the new iPhone. Brand loyalty, Tone, you know what brand loyalty is.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. But like, I also know that it's priced into the stock. So I'm not going to trade Apple stock because of that.
But you understand when a stock captures brand loyalty, that has value in the stock, right?
But yeah, of course.
Great, good. So we agree. Now, Monero has brand loyalty in a few markets because of what they're doing with their anonymous transactions and with their ring signatures, because they're providing people that anonymity that they want, the services that they need, that they can't get with anybody else. And maybe they can now, but people don't want to switch because Monero was the first one there. Brand loyalty, right?
Sure. But again,
to say that altcoins 10 years from now are not going to exist doesn't take into account the brand loyalty component.
No, of course it does, right? Like, again, the brand loyalty clearly didn't work for Apple because more people use Android today than they do Apple, right? But by that logic, Apple should continue to dominate cell phone sales, but it doesn't, right? Android took that over like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and Android continues to be even more popular than Apple.
No, listen, Android is not a company, it's an operating system. Don't mix apples and oranges here.
Sure. That's fine. I agree. Right. But Apple is also an operating system, right? It's both. It's a company.
No, it's a combined platform.
Yeah, it's a combined platform. Okay. So let's
to say that Android is dominating Apple is not correct. You have to look at whether or not LG cell phone division is dominating Apple, or if I can't even pronounce it, Huawei.
Yeah. All right. No, okay, fine. Let's go back to that, right? Well, fine. Then, okay, why is Android dominating Apple as a...
What about Samsung? I think Samsung's a good example. David, do you have a Samsung phone or an Apple phone?
No, David's an Apple guy.
There he is. He understands brand loyalty. Thank you,
brand loyalty.
That's fine. Okay, so fine. Let's not forget. So let's talk about the operating system. Why did Android outpace Apple? For what reason?
It doesn't.
It did.
No, it doesn't. Look, with Android, you cannot seamlessly integrate every single device that you have. You have to use Google and their secondary services in order to link your Gmail and Gcalendar and your phone contacts and everything else. Whereas Apple seamlessly integrates everything across every single platform.
Well, I know, Jason. You're trying to sell me on Apple.
No, I'm not. I'm making an example that you're spiraling on, Tone.
No, you're trying to make the case that Apple is a better operating system, and I'm an Android user, and the world.
As am I. No, as am I. I'm an Android.
Well, but the world.
I prefer the LG G6 version of that.
No, but that doesn't matter, right?
Samsung version, because Samsung puts their own bloated bullshit in.
We're not comparing companies. We're comparing operating system. Why did Android beat iOS?
No. You're getting into different arguments. You're getting into different arguments because nobody buys.
Let me take it back to simplicity for a second.
Go ahead, David.
Wait, I'll take it back to simplicity. Why do I, who has the least technical amount of knowledge in the space, why do I stay on a large exchange using Bitcoin? Because it's the easiest one to trade in. You know, as things become easier, I'm going to eventually change. But I used Coinbase to trade Bitcoin when there was the only thing available. I log into Bittrex. I can barely understand what I'm doing.
No shit.
And why do I use an Apple phone? Because he's right. I got an Apple Watch and an Apple phone. And when I travel, I want everything to be integrated. It's easy. I pay a premium for that.
You have the Dick Tracy Apple Watch version where you can talk on it?
Of course I do.
Yes.
All right, let me answer that question, right? Like, because I never bought the Apple phone in 2007 when it came out, but I bought the very first Android phone in 2009 or something, right? So Apple beat iOS phones, smartphones beat Android to the market. They started first. Like you said, they're integrated. They have all these and they're more user friendly. A lot of people want some more simplicity. Apple does that a little bit. Okay, so I see two reasons why Android won. One is the open source nature of the coding of the Android platform that Apple doesn't have. It's a closed source coding platform versus Android being more open source. The other thing is when Apple came out, they when the iOS phone came out, they aligned themselves only with AT&T. So you had to go to only AT&T as your only company to buy your phone. And when Android came out, when Android came out, they said anyone can use our phone. So Apple screwed up. Maybe not so much with the closed source code part. That's a lot of proprietary stuff because they're a company. But they certainly screwed up by aligning themselves with a single cell phone minute provider being AT&T.
Let's get back to the crypto discussion, Tone.
Let's get back to the crypto discussion, right?
Now, let me match these up. All right, let me match these up. Brand loyalty. Try to convince somebody who was there day one for Ethereum that they shouldn't use Ethereum anymore.
I'm not trying.
No. But that's what I'm talking about with the brand loyalty.
I know, but Jason, but here's what I'm trying to explain to you.
How have we gone so far down this path of us?
No, Jason, we're on the same path. I don't get who cares about crypto brand loyalty. The 300 people that are using Monero, they can stay using Monero. The future 100 million people that are going to come in using crypto, they're going to use Bitcoin because it's going to
they're not. They're not even going to know what the hell they're using, right? Look,
this is why I'm saying
they're not even going to know that they're using it. They don't even, they're not even going to know what platform they're using. They're not going to know what protocol is behind the phone that's sending, little Johnny and little Susie $200, right? For all my son knows, I just sent him Bitcoin instead of money. It doesn't matter to him what it is, because he knows he can take that value that I just sent him and he can go down to Whataburger or Krispy Kreme or go to the gas station and fill a syrup.
Of course,
nobody gives a shit what drives it, Tone. The common people, the 100 million people you're talking about, don't give a fuck.
Jason, of course it matters, because it'll matter to your son if you just sent him $200 worth of Bitcoin or $200 worth of Paycoin, which you may still have in your phone for all I know. I don't know.
It's still $200 that he can use.
No, where can you use
Because
Paycoin?
he's David Silver, right? He doesn't give a shit what drives it. If I said, David, I'm going to send you $200 and don't worry, you can spend it anywhere on the planet, would you care if it was what that was? If it was actually
absolutely. You're assuming that you can spend Monero anywhere on the planet. You're assuming that you can spend Aurora coin anywhere on the planet.
I'm taking your 10 years down the line, when 100 million people are using cryptocurrency, which was your word, not Bitcoin, you said cryptocurrency. I'm telling you that nobody gives a fuck what it is. They don't care.
Of course they do.
No, they don't.
This is what I'm saying.
David.
I got to go with Jason on this one. You're completely off. I don't care what it is. As long as I can on-ramp and off-ramp
done
as easily as I want, it's meaningless to me. And I tell people all the time, take a spin wheel, put everything like Wheel of Fortune, every crypto spin the wheel. I don't care which one succeeds, and I can't predict which one succeeds.
Right, but right now, right? But like, can you on-ramp and off-ramp Paycoin? It was number 3 on CoinMarketCap in 2014.
Oh, you're trying to win a different argument. My argument is people don't care what it is. The underlying thing, they don't care what it is. So long as if I tell them, or I tell you, I'm sending you $200, and that $200 is 100% fungible and usable the moment they get it. They don't care if the underlying thing was a SWIFT transfer, an internal bank transfer, if it was Bitcoin, Paycoin, fucking Dentacoin.
Right, but Jason, but
they don't care.
Stop, Jason. Before you make that statement, you have to know that the value you're sending is actually fungible into US dollars.
Yeah, but use Coinbase. When Coinbase puts all the shit coins on,
they don't have Paycoin.
No, I'm saying when we got to use an example of a shit coin that gets onto Coinbase. Once that gets onto Coinbase, people are going to care less and less. It used to matter. Like when they put Zcash onto Coinbase or Gemini. Yeah. I bought it because I was like, wow, that's going to go up because there's more access to Zcash than the whole world.
And everybody thought that once Tezos got on Kraken, that it was going to take off. And
what's Tezos at? Is it above the Mendoza line?
No. It's at 48 cents.
See, that's my point. Like, Tezos is a perfect example. Now it's trading. Still under the Mendoza line. There's a lawsuit. I wish I had that.
What's the Mendoza line on that?
Come on, Tone. You live in New York. You know what the Mendoza line is?
Wow. No, I know what is the Mendoza line on Tezos?
Tezos. The sale went at 50 cents. So if the big win in the lawsuit is you get rescission, it was trading at $1.50 for most of the lawsuit. What person would say, give me my 50 cents back and I'm going to give you $1.50? All of a sudden, every user now can say, here's my 48 cents, give me 50 cents back. And they're cash positive on the lawsuit now. A lot more people are going to be interested in the lawsuit.
Yeah, they are.
It's free money to them.
Yep. Well, it's not free money, it's recouped money. Right?
Well, Jason, call it what you want. The differential's there.
My point is this. Brand loyalty in crypto is an incredibly tiny pool of people for everything other than Bitcoin.
Bullshit! Okay. Well, how do you sit there with a Bitcoin T-shirt on, saying that Bitcoin is the only coin that's going to survive, and not tell me you don't have Bitcoin loyalty? Oh my God, Tone!
No, I said other than Bitcoin. Jason, loyalty. Jason, I said other than Bitcoin.
Oh, really? Ethereum. There you go.
Right. The pool of Ethereum brand
Litecoin.
That what I'm
Monero.
saying.
What about all the guys that still believe that Ripple is God's green?
But
David, Ripple.
What I'm saying is, over the next 5 years, the brand loyalty people will be a smaller and smaller percentage of the pool of crypto, and they're going to be irrelevant.
On this, I don't disagree. The reason brand loyalty is going to be irrelevant is nobody's going to give a fuck what it is behind it. I'm saying that again.
They're not going to give a, because they're going to be using Bitcoin.
Tone, do you think the common person understands how the SWIFT and ACH network works, or that it even exists?
No, they don't care because they're using
Exactly.
dollars.
Thank you. No, they're not using dollars. I can send $200 to Europe right now, and it shows up in an account over there as euros.
Yeah. Because they need the euros.
Correct. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're done.
Right, but in 10 years, who's going to need Monero?
In 10 years, nobody's going to give a fuck what's behind it. In 10 years, cryptocurrency is going to be SWIFT and ACH.
No, you missed my point, Jason. You missed my point. You're sending dollars. The person
I'm
in
sending
Europe,
whatever value I'm sending.
right? Because they get
Universal
the value.
intergalactic credit.
You're not listening. When
I'm
you
listening.
send your $20, you don't care what currency they get because their bank gives them the currency that is useful in their jurisdiction. Do we agree?
Sure.
Do we agree? Okay.
Sure.
What you're trying to convince me is that you're going to send cryptocurrency X and the person receiving it is going to get cryptocurrency Y because cryptocurrency Y is more useful in that person's jurisdiction. And I'm saying that's ridiculous.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Right. It's almost like you're sending a car to Venice, but it gets converted into a boat because they don't have cars in Venice. That's your example. There will be a little. No,
it's not. That's pretty stupid, Tone.
No, that's exactly what it is. There was like, hey, there's a city right there. There isn't a single car in the borders of those cities, and the only way to get around that city is on a boat. Okay, there's one, maybe two of those cities in the world.
Nobody uses a car to pay for an Amazon purchase in Venice, Tone.
No, but what I'm saying is the percentage of people that cannot use a car to get around and must use a boat to get around.
Tone, when's the last time you traveled overseas?
And that's how many people are going to need Monero or Litecoin.
Tone, when's the last time you traveled overseas?
Like a month ago. I'm
always where'd you go?
It's a long list of countries. Europe, Asia.
Just one of them. One of them that doesn't have the US dollar as currency.
Sure. I was in Australian dollars.
Okay, Australia, right? So when you were on a street market, could you pay for something with a US dollar anyway?
Probably.
But you didn't. You converted it into Australian dollars, right?
Okay. Oh, the answer is maybe. In Australia,
Sure.
Can I pay US dollars? The answer is maybe.
Maybe. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Now here's the thing. Like when I go to Prague, right? Mm-hmm. In Prague, they will take my Prague krone, I think is their local currency. Mm-hmm. They will take my euros. They will take my dollars. Mm-hmm. And they will probably take my Swiss francs as well. Now,
sure. So that vendor in that jurisdiction is willing to take any of those currencies at any point in time. Great.
Yes.
It was the same way in Panama, right? Panama is a laissez-faire economy. David was there. You can pay for things in US dollars. You can pay for things in euros. You can pay for things in whatever you want in Panama. They don't have a national currency there.
Right. So how many stores around America accept the euro or the Australian dollar or any other currency other than the
Here's
US?
where I've got you, Tone.
Go ahead.
Because I can come from France with my fucking visa, put it into a machine, and that machine doesn't give two fucks if I've got dollars, francs, or euros in it. And when I say transfer this amount of dollars to this vendor, it's seamless and nobody knows the difference. Because that vendor says, I want $200 worth of value out of that card. And it's done. And it doesn't get converted, it just happens. And that's the same thing that's going to happen.
No, I understand that. I'm with you there. Okay, so let me ask you this. Why do the people in America only want to get US dollars from whoever, I mean, you can come to the US, or you come with a credit card from any country, but do you know any businesses in America that will tell their bank, hey, when someone pays me with a European credit card, can you put the euros in my account instead? Do you know any businesses that do that?
Personally, I don't, but I do know of a few people that do like to have different currencies because they themselves travel.
But that's a very tiny percentage of people.
Absolutely. No, we agree. We agree.
No, isn't this like your utopian?
Let David in here for a
Isn't
second.
this your utopian view that you should be able to have any crypto, go wherever you want, and use the crypto where you are? That
Exactly.
is
That's not, Jason, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about
David. That's David that asked that.
But
David,
David,
for a second. I need more. I need coffee.
David.
David. Because when I go overseas, just like you were, I stick my card into the machine, and this is the difference. Premium users don't care what they pay for the transfer cost.
David, for the this is what I can't get through to people. No one gives a shit what you pay with. The only thing matters is what the person wants on the other side.
That's the point, though. Aren't you towards the utopian view that you should be able to mix and match anything you want and give?
What I'm saying is, can we agree that the US dollar is the currency most of the world wants?
Yes.
Fine. Now, the reason why any...
I'm sorry, did someone give you a simple answer? Surprise you?
Listen, can you guys just listen? The reason why every single foreigner that comes to the US and pays with whatever currency they want to pay with, okay? But the people in the US only end up with US dollar amounts in their savings, minus a tiny percentage of people that travel, maybe, is because Americans want to keep their money in dollars. Now, when I go to, let's say...
Tom, the average American doesn't give a fuck what their money is. It's just money. They don't care if it's in dollars or not. They show up with a card.
Wait,
again,
that's it.
I disagree with Jason. Let someone say something.
You guys just don't
with it.
You guys just don't get it. The reason why I'm able to pay with dollars in 90% of the world is because most of the people in that world would love to hold on to dollars instead of their local currency. The reason why I can pay in Prague with euros and dollars because they see those currencies as a potential better store of value.
I don't disagree with that. When I was in Havana, when I was in Cuba, that happened. David, you were in Cuba as well, right?
But I think this is such a funny conversation because the reason everyone in the world wants the U.S. dollar is because of the government backing.
Yes, because of the government backing, David. That's right.
Because you guys aren't letting me finish. What I'm saying is, no, I am not going to give a shit if you pay me in Ethereum or Monero, but I am going to convert that to Bitcoin. And more people are going to convert it to Bitcoin, which is why the other shit coins are going away.
Actually, they don't. They convert it to fucking Tether, Tone. They convert it to Tether, and then they wait for whatever's going to happen. And the reason they convert it to Tether is because it's stable and they know they're going to keep their value there, right? I know so many people that sold Bitcoin at 6,000 because they predicted that it was going to drop down to 2,500. When they sold it, they converted it into Tether, a US dollar-backed asset.
Again, you're taking it one level above what I'm saying. That's fine. People that don't like the risk of Bitcoin will convert it to something more stable than Bitcoin.
US dollar.
No, I'm talking about the layer below that. Every shitcoin is less stable than Bitcoin. So why on earth would anyone hold on to it?
You don't trade in those shitcoins?
No. They're go to zero at any day.
Come on. Tony, you're telling me that you've never traded an altcoin.
I'm saying I haven't traded an altcoin in 3 years.
Okay, but you did, right?
Yeah.
And the reason you did was because there was the ability to have a speculative gain based on market fluctuations. And then you figured out that those market fluctuations were being manipulated and artificially created by the people that were controlling those markets. And you said, why the hell would I want to ride the front wave of Ponzi scheme?
Well,
but as a securities lawyer, and David understands this, the best place to be in a Ponzi scheme is on the front end.
There's a dozen reasons why I don't trade altcoins, that being one of them. You know, it's no more or less important than the other 11 reasons, right? I can give you numerous, but what I'm saying is,
do you actually actively trade Bitcoin, Tone, or do you just hold on to it? You get paid in Bitcoin, right?
I hold on to it, yeah.
Right. So you get paid in Bitcoin.
I sell enough to pay my taxes, and I hold on to the rest.
So you don't pay your rent with Bitcoin?
I can't. My bank doesn't take Bitcoin.
Okay, so your normal job, which is it advising people on investment strategies with Bitcoin?
Not exactly. I teach educational workshops.
Excellent. I've done that.
Good
it's called
answer.
CLE.
Good answer, son. Look at that, man. That is a good answer.
That is a good answer.
I'm an educator.
Right. I'm an educator. And how many securities licenses do you hold, Tom?
I don't hold any.
So then that absolutely was a perfect answer.
That sounds. There's your Twitter legal advice for the day.
No. So look, here we are, Bitcoin's 10th birthday, right?
Yeah.
And Bitcoin has seen just an amazing roller coaster, even in the last 6 months. I know I'm feeling that pain. I'm sure you are too, Tom. So New Year's predictions, where is Bitcoin in 6 months and where is it in 12 months? This is what you get paid to do, is to predict these markets. So, excuse me, to give educational programs to the masses.
6 months is a tough time frame. I'd rather go 3 and 9.
Why?
Because I think Bitcoin will rise before it falls, but I don't know how long it's going to take to rise. I see Bitcoin going up to 5,000.
It's like saying the sun is going to rise.
Wait a minute. No, I'm going to be specific. I'm going to be specific. I see Bitcoin going up to 5,000, then dropping below 3,000, and then eventually starting a new bull market towards the end of the year. But I don't know if we're going to, at what exact time frames that's going to happen. So in 6 months, it could be, going down below 3,000, or it could already be recovering after going below 3,000. So it's impossible for me to predict. I continue to say that I think in Q1 of this year, we will rise to approximately 5K. In Q2 and 3 of the year, we will fall below 3K. And then in Q4, we will be back above 3K after making a bottom, but we stay under 10,000 at year end. Is that
so? Are you going to tweet out? Tone Vase says Q1 Bitcoin is 5,000. Are you going to put that on the record into the Twitter chain?
Oh, it already is. I mean, it's on like a dozen interviews that I am looking for a bounce up to 5,000.
I want you to tweet today to put into the Twitter chain that it's going to be 5,000 in Q1. And then here's the deal, though. What happens when you're wrong?
Nothing. That's my opinion today. I can change that opinion tomorrow. Like this is what I mean. Like it doesn't matter. I've been saying for the last 2 weeks in every interview at all of my year end, people are like, "Hey, what's going to happen to Bitcoin in 2019?" And that's been my answer for the last 2 weeks at every single interview I've done. I continue to expect Bitcoin to rally to approximately 5K. Then I expect Bitcoin to fall to below 3K, and then I expect the bottom to eventually show up sometime by the end of Q3 of this year.
But the fun thing is that there's no consequence if you're wrong, right? Well, but that's where David comes in.
Well, no, but it's funny though, because I was making fun of
my reputation will rise and fall with this prediction.
Yeah, but like Anthony Pomp, who's got his like newsletter digital like Morgan Creek, he was on CNBC, and I was going back and forth with him about the fact that it's great to say that, there's nothing that would change my mind about Bitcoin price going back up, because he got nailed with like a 50,000 prediction. And
right.
His response, I was like, your response is ludicrous, because if tomorrow morning the DOJ comes out with the DOJ, the FBI, the SEC, the CFTC, and announces indictments for everybody and their mother and says Bitcoin's illegal, everyone's going to have to redo their charts that morning. And I think what's happening right now, and this is what's really a nice part of everyone being wrong with their 2018 predictions, is
not everyone.
What was that?
Not everyone.
with most people being wrong about their 2018 predictions, is that there's so much that's going to change that's not hinging on a predictable market indicator right now, that any price projection is based on nothing but, hugging yourself and, and prayer. Nothing substantive, because everything's about to change and everyone kind of knows it's going to change. Eric Voorhees today, he didn't respond to me, but he had the nice Forbes article calling himself the last gunslinger. You know what it means to be the last gunslinger? You're about to be extinct and dead. That's not a compliment to Eric. That's oh my God, you're in the right place at the right time, but your second, coming isn't actually, you're not doing the right thing. And I can't remember, Bertone, you did I want to say it was on the, when Bitcoin Cash was splitting that day, there were like 18 people on the video screen, and everyone was saying, a bunch of charters who were like, oh, this is what the chart says. And there was only like 2 or 3 people who were like, it can go down a lot more. Anyone in the Twitter universe can say anything. I'm just a little bit more, I think 2019 is going to be the year we see what happens, and the price has to tank to reset to what the government says is going to happen. So I'm down.
Wow.
Well, it looks like we're both have the same price prediction for different reasons. I don't think what the government says is going to matter to Bitcoin as much as it'll matter to all the other shit coins. And I think it matters a lot to them. And here's another point, Jason, right? Like, all of these other projects are significantly more centralized than Bitcoin. Or do you disagree?
I disagree over the decentralization of Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin has become very centralized based on the lack of diversity within the mining pools and the mining markets. They're too centrally controlled. But I've been saying that for a while.
Litecoin, like 55% of all Litecoin is controlled by one pool. Like what do you mean?
We're not talking about Litecoin. We're talking about Bitcoin. You asked me about Bitcoin. Do you want to change the subject?
No, I want you to name me one altcoin that's more decentralized than Bitcoin.
So that's a new question. And what's your definition of decentralization? Is it hash power? Is it number of nodes? Is it only proof of work, or is proof of stake okay? I've fallen into these traps with you before, Tom. Keep moving the goalposts.
My definition of decentralization. It's a combination of number of full validating nodes.
Okay.
It's mining hash power spread around the world.
So it has to be proof of work, not proof of stake.
I don't see proof of stake as being decentralized at all.
Really? That's interesting, because there's certain definitions that would say that having multiple nodes that are operated and controlled by multiple people all over the planet creates a decentralized fucking blockchain. But if you want to exclude proof of stake systems, that's fine.
Let me rephrase it. If you have proof of stake, you're not a blockchain to me, so it's irrelevant. Is that better?
Wow, that's a bold statement, Tom.
Yeah. If you're not proof of work, you're not a blockchain. So they're not in the conversation of whether they aren't decentralized. They're irrelevant.
Interesting.
There's no innovation there. There's no innovation at all. Like, proof of stake's been there. Like, Satoshi invented proof of work. That's the innovation. Like, proof of stake's irrelevant. Now we can talk about hybrids. We can talk about proof of stake and proof of work, and that's debatable. But if you're 100% proof of stake or majority proof of stake, like Steemit is and EOS is, it's majority proof of stake. It's like 90% proof of stake. You're irrelevant. You're not a blockchain. That's by my definition of blockchain.
Okay, I'm trying to enter these parameters into a search here to see if there's anything that pops up.
Okay. So
I'm surprised that you're going on, the hashing power versus the decentralization myth, when 99% of the people control,
the hash power.
People control 99% of the crypto.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go back to this ridiculous statistic. Say that again.
The 1% of the people control 99% of the crypto.
No. Well, crypto or Bitcoin? Can we separate the two?
Okay, if you want to separate the two, I'd still say Bitcoin is predominantly owned in the high 90s by a very select few.
I take the other side of that. Now, if you put all of crypto, yeah, because I think that the majority of crypto outside of Bitcoin, 0.1% does control 99% of the coins. I agree with that.
I'll only agree with you for simplicity's sake that all the shit coins and all those are all controlled by the developers. But even Bitcoin today is still controlled by those that were in early.
Oh, which one?
Bitcoin today is still held mostly by the early adopters of the technology.
Well, here's the thing, right? It doesn't matter because they have almost no say in the future of Bitcoin, right? I mean, it was proven by Roger Ver going and starting an altcoin, right? So unlike Ethereum, where the people that own the most Ethereum have a lot of control and say as to the future of Ethereum, that's not the case in Bitcoin. Those that have the most number of Bitcoin don't necessarily have more control of the future of where Bitcoin's going.
Well, that's because you're segregating out that they're not going to buy into the resource of the power of the hashing.
Right. Well, and this is why
but those two things probably go hand in hand.
And this is why my definition of decentralization, or trustlessness, as a new better word for it, my definition.
Hold on, let me write that down in my new definitions and statements book. I got to keep up with this shit.
Now look,
trust.
Tell me when you're ready. Okay. So my definition of
trustlessness. Got it.
Trustlessness. Okay. Perfect. So it's the number of transaction validating nodes, the distribution of those nodes around the world, mining hash power, and the mining distribution, again, of that hash power around the world. And third is core development, not only the number, not just the number of developers proposing and coding changes and doing code review, but also, and this is you're gonna laugh because it's a little hard to measure over the internet, the IQ level of those developers. And yes, I can see your head I can see your arm going over your head, but I will say it, not just the number of developers working on the code, but the IQ level of those developers and the mental level of those developers as to what they believe. Like, for example, Craig Wright may or may not have a very high IQ. We don't know. He could be a very smart guy. He could be pretending to be a smart guy. But what we do know is he wants Bitcoin to be a censored transaction. He doesn't want, like he clearly stated in my interview with him, that if Bitcoin is used for illegal activity, like buying drugs or doing whatever, then that's not the Bitcoin that we should have. And therefore, he wants it only to have a dozen nodes, and these nodes would be able to control which transactions get in and get out, right? So you could be smart, but you could have the view that Bitcoin should be like censored, right? So that doesn't help. So it's a combination of those three things. So so it's the number of core developers, how smart those core developers are, and what their values are to keep Bitcoin censorship resistant, unconfiscatable, and unprintable. Those are my three words: unprintable, uncensorable, and unconfiscatable. So
I've got four new words here. I've got trustlessness.
Yeah. Yes.
I've got
unconfiscatable. Yeah. I was able to get that domain. The rest are unfortunately taken.
Did you really? Okay. Trustlessness, unconfiscatable.
Yes.
What else? I'm writing these down.
Uncensorable.
Uncensor.
And unprintable.
Unprintable. What do you mean by unprintable?
Uninflatable.
You mean you can't just add coins whenever you want, willy-nilly?
Correct. Like Bcash did. They just added a bunch of coins because they wanted to, right?
You just really hate Bcash, don't you?
Well, they're inflated. I mean, like
serious stiffy for.
Well, Litecoin is inflation on top of Bitcoin, right? Like Litecoin is like inflation to Bitcoin. Like, why would you want an inferior money? You just
David, let's just you and I talk for a second. We need to do a sidebar here. David, do you remember when Tone said that he didn't think brand loyalty would be a factor in cryptocurrency decisions?
Of course not. While wearing a Bitcoin shirt.
Right. I'm just going, you know, because he's basically created, I don't know if you've been taking notes or not, but he's basically created a set of parameters for a true decentralized network to be only Bitcoin, right? Nobody else can meet the narrow definition that Tone has created. I mean, I've been working on this on the side while he's been pimping his Bitcoin shirt. But do you sell those, by the way, Tone?
See, Tone, you should stay.
No, I've never seen this before. It's the only, well, this was a gift. I've never seen anyone else have one of these, so I have no idea if it's literally one of a kind or not.
See, man, that's the problem, man. Tone, just say it's a better goddamn mousetrap. Until they build a better mousetrap, you're totally all in. There's nothing wrong with that. Jason, I'm with him.
I agree. I agree with that.
Side.
No, I agree with that. And I'm fine with that. And when Henry Ford built the Model T, it was the best goddamn mousetrap. But the argument is you don't need to change anything. You shouldn't have any other cars because Model T does it, right? No, people are going to want different things. People wanted Bitcoin Cash. They wanted faster times. They wanted things built into it. They wanted more liquidity. They wanted the ability to fucking mine, right? Tone, if I want to mine, I can't mine Bitcoin.
Why not?
It's too expensive.
Okay.
The return on investment of machines, the amount of time, the amount of power that it takes on the return is stupid for me as an individual to go out and do that. And I can't upgrade hardware every 3 months to stay on top of the technological advances, right? I have to have a ridiculous amount of capital up front in order to get into the mining game. And then I don't have cheap enough power here in Texas to be able to do it. I got to move, right? Then I have to have cheap power, huge amount of space, right? There's multiple areas to considerations of why people get into different
Gigawatt,
coins.
you can go to Washington right now. Gigawatt's in bankruptcy. Pennies on the dollar. They have all the mining facilities and a lot of machines.
Yeah, they do. They're only like 2 years outdated. But David, I'll make a bid. Do you know who the trustee is on that gigawatt deal? Because I'll put a bid in right now. I'll put in a bid for 2 Bitcoin. By the way, this is my Bitcoin related merch today. Oh yeah, that's what I do.
Okay, so wait, you're complaining because, I mean, you don't want to mine gold? The gold, fine, go into your backyard. I'm sure there's some kind of rock in your backyard. You can mine it on the cheap. Go for it.
Thank you. You've just solidified and made my argument for me of why other altcoins will exist in 10 years, Tom.
No, this is why they won't exist in 10 years, because the rock that you're mining in your backyard, no one wants it. No one is going to accept it. No one's going to use it. Sure, really? You can waste your resources mining whatever that you find abundant in your backyard, but you got to get the world to accept it. Good luck.
Damn right. Damn right. That's right. And look at Bruce Fenton and Ravencoin.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about it. Ravencoin is useless. It's functionally useless, other than making a few people rich. It's functionally useless.
But he can see this, because after I meet people, if I like them, I put in a like limit order to purchase. My limit order to purchase Ravencoin has not been met yet, because I think I have it at like under a penny, like under a fraction of a penny. So I could technically say I do not own any Ravencoin. But are you telling me it's worthless, Tone? I should take out my limit order on it?
But when your limit order hits, you're going to watch that money gets lost, because when it hits your order, it's going to keep going down.
I like to grab falling knives. It's all about grabbing the falling knife. But to be fair, I want to say it was at like 3 cents or like 0.03, like whatever it trades at now. I put it in for like 75 cents, 75% down. It's getting close. I had a drink with him at Coin Agenda in Vegas. I liked him. He was a nice guy. He has very good things to say about you, Jason.
Sorry, what? I'm sorry. I'm having a sidebar with Junseth right now.
Will you ask Junseth why he called me a transgender? I'm assuming that was a typo.
No. That's just his thing. It's what he does, right? He calls himself a cis transgender female. I think he's got a whole line of things that he lays out.
Someone told me I was a good-looking cis. I had to look it up what it meant, thanks to his tweet.
Well, you are a handsome man.
See, Tone, this is what I have gotten involved with since I've gotten involved with you. These are the people I now deal with.
Yeah, okay, guys. I actually do have I did not expect this show to last this long.
By the way, I don't know if you know or not, but Junseth has some new product that he's putting out. He's not doing as many podcasts, but what he's doing instead, for those of you that forgot Bitcoin Uncensored, was Chris Rose and Junseth. And what he's doing is he's trying to transition into more print stuff. And I just wanted to point that out. He's actually pumped your show right now, Tone, on merkelreport.com. And I'm going to send Tone the link that he can put into.
I officially have Chris Rose blocked, and then like 6-9 months ago, Junseth started picking fights with me and trolling me, so I haven't really been talking to him. I haven't blocked.
I pick fights with you and troll you, Tone, but we still get along. It's part of our thing.
Yeah,
it's part of the crypto world. If you can't handle a little trolling or a little fighting, like Jimmy and I, we just jumped right into it. It's what people in crypto do. It's fine. You shouldn't block anybody. It limits it. Anyway, merkelreport.com. Johnson is following along. He's texting me right now. He can't jump in because he's at work, but he does send his best. And he says that he loves you very much. And also, he says that he is a white black female is what he identifies as. A white black female. That's his self-identification for today. So anyway. All right, where were we? Were you trying to bail out of this, Tone? Are you done?
Yeah, I am. I wanna. Yeah, I gotta talk about price. You guys are welcome to stick around, and then we're gonna have to call it a day.
Oh,
I'm out.
I'm out on that. Thanks, Tone. Happy birthday.
The ones are leaving.
Happy birthday.
Bye. Happy birthday, Bitcoin. All right, let's get to some price. Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for joining. Man, that was frustrating. Don't ever argue with lawyers. This was a bad idea. Oh boy. All right, let's take a look at the price. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, we were looking at the top thing. All right, so I did not even realize Litecoin wasn't 3% was less than 3% of Bitcoin's market cap. I thought it was more than 3% of Bitcoin's market cap, but I guess it's not. And it's a little bit, so I was surprised. But my point is that over time, all of these altcoins and even the new ones that can pop up for a year or two, they will all slowly go back down to be less than 3% of Bitcoin's market cap. And over time, less than 2% and less than 1%. And that's what I mean. Like, it doesn't mean that some shitcoin isn't going to pop to the top and people are going to think it's the greatest thing. But as time moves forward, Bitcoin will continue to separate. And I think that the bottom will be marked when of this bear market when Bitcoin actually starts to separate. Now, it doesn't mean that a single altcoin can't like creep up to the top and make it to like 10% of Bitcoin's market cap while being actively traded. Not like, you know what I mean, guys. It doesn't mean that that can't happen. There could be anomalies, and these anomalies pop up, like Bitcoin Cash didn't even exist a year and a half ago. Now it's in the top 5, right? Like, shit will pop up, but over time, it'll go to the bottom, and it will continue, and as Bitcoin continues to separate on average. Okay. Unconfiscatable update. Yeah, I gotta review the poker registrations. I think we have about 70 plus seats paid for out of 100. I need to reach out to the crypto celebrity people, get them to pay up, and then we'll see how many seats are left. Carnivory dinner is officially sold out. That one's done. Sorry, guys. That one is full. Murad is now on our speaker list, and so is Adela. Oh, damn it. I forgot to ask the damn lawyers. I got to get them to pay up. Man, that's squeezing 0.1 Bitcoin out of them is not going to be easy. That's a cool picture of Adela. I like the colors, man. Hey, thanks. World of Rusty, the graphic designer on Twitter, for doing all of these. Colors are really good, actually. I really like them. And, of course, the workshops, me, Jimmy Song, and Tyler Jenks. We did lower the price. Hey, look, people are registering, right? We are now down to 28. We'll try to keep this price. Oh, sold out VIPs again. Maybe we'll might have to raise this one to 0.5. Hey, people are willing to pay. Well, I do try to raise the price. We don't have any sponsors yet. I'm in talks with one, but I'm all ready to do this conference with no sponsors. That's why your ticket sales are paying for all of it. All right, that's about it. No news on how many people are watching. How many people stuck around with us? Jeez, we still have 1,400. No news on new workshops. This is what we're supposed to do today, but that clearly didn't happen. I'm probably gonna add Paris, and I'm probably gonna add London. I gotta figure that out. Other than that, it's Phoenix and Vegas. All right, let's just go to the price. The monthly chart, 39.26. That's where we closed last night. That looks pretty good. Again, the last month's candle has all the features of a borderline reversal candle. Not a great reversal candle, but a reversal candle nonetheless. And I'm still looking for my $5,000 or $5,000-ish target. 4,800 is good enough. 5,500 is good enough. The vicinity of this resistance cluster, which starts at 4,800 and goes as high as 5,200, is what I'm looking for in Q1 of this year. Will that happen? I don't know, and neither does anyone else. So the weekly chart continues to flip-flop back and forth. So we are in a range-bound market. We had a green price flip. We did go to a green 2 at one point in last week's candle, but the current week's candle is back down. We are back price flipping. Next candle will probably give you a green 2 above a green 1 again. Today is already Thursday, so it shouldn't be too hard. Next candle just needs to go above 3,900, and we'll get that green 2 again above a green 5. Above a green 1. But the candle after that will need to be I think we are ready to take off to the upside for a little bit. I'm still borderline bullish here. Let's see if the SEC says something that's going to spook us like David expects. We continue to creep closer and closer to this declining moving average. I would like to see us, continue going sideways on this daily chart, get above this moving average, and then challenge the setup trend line, which is at 4250 area. Until we, close below this blue line that I had on there before, we pretty much touched it. And again, as long as this line is holding, I am not going to turn bearish on Bitcoin. As long as we're above this line, and I know it's just under 3,600 or 3,600 flat. As long as we're above this line, I'm okay with it. Yeah, I continue to fudge with this right shoulder of the Head and Shoulders. And man, I don't know if I can stretch this anymore. We really needed today's price to go up to stay within it. At this point, it's still a Head and Shoulders, but like I said, I don't know how far more I can stretch this thing. Not a good candle on a 4-hour. This is looking bad. We just had a red 3 below a red 2. This is pretty bearish. Yesterday, last night, I was going to bed. I was watching Bitcoin going up to like 3,900. I'm like, oh man, we're finally going to break 4,000 again. But today it's not looking so hot. But like I said, as long as we stay above 3,600, we're in this zone that anything can still happen. Let's just say I'm not as optimistic now as I was then, which is obvious because the price is $100 lower than it was then. 1-hour chart is not showing me anything. I'm not going to bother. The longs versus shorts. People are starting leverage up on the long side again, and that doesn't mean good things for more upside, right? We had a better chance of going to the upside late December because the longs got deleveraged. Now the longs are leveraging up, so not as good. What do we got here? This is, again, longs versus shorts. Again, this ratio. When this ratio goes up, that means this is number of longs divided by the number of shorts. That's a lot of longs. You can see that this got deleveraged after the pop. And this started going up when we hit bottom. So this is usually at this ratio up here. Lately, once we got to this purple line, this tends to be where the price of Bitcoin falls, not where the price of Bitcoin rises. We can see it right here. We went above the purple line and Bitcoin price fell hard. We got above the purple line here. It didn't fall hard, but it did pull back a little bit. Once longs got deleveraged, it popped up. Same thing. This was a little bit of a special case, right? So again, we popped all the way up. We started to deleverage a little bit earlier. We did still fall then after. So going above this purple line usually means there's more likelihood of downside than upside. A bit of a contradiction with my current position in Bitcoin, but I'm still looking at 5,000 before sub 3,000. This is the latest formula that I have. Oh, no, not that formula. I got to adjust the formula. So this is the latest formula that I have on a GBTC Premium. GBTC Premium popped a little bit today, so that's good. Probably need to adjust this number, a little bit down. It's probably, I probably dropped that 3. It's been a couple of days. So that thing, goes down over time because of the fee. Wow, that made that actually didn't make that big of a difference. Dropped from about 14 to about 13%. So the premium's there. Not great. I want to see this premium go like above 25, 26, because I do have the GBTC position. Ethereum slowed down, just like Bitcoin slowed down. Nothing there. Not going to talk about that. Hey, this is a good sign. The S&P was falling hard this morning. Apple had a huge crash. Maybe we'll take a look at Apple. This is not a good sign, but we still have another full day. Maybe we can recover. As long as the... so this is the futures daily chart. Let's go to the S&P daily chart. So I don't want to see a red 2 go below red 1. So I really don't want to see lower prices tomorrow. But tomorrow's Friday, right? So I'm going to wait till Monday. If tomorrow is a bad day and Monday starts off as a bad day, we could be looking at a substantial bear market in the equity space. Again, very critical weekend for the traditional markets. Oil is bouncing up a little bit. Nice reversal candle last week. This week, we're looking good. I still think this is the kind of structure that usually sends oil further down. Can we have a little bit of a rebound? Of course. But I'm still looking at lower oil prices in 2019. I think this is gold. I watched Tyler Jenks's last video where he talked a lot about gold. I think I have like 10 minutes to go in that video. And wow, gold popped today. Not exactly sure what that means. I did not think it would get above this trend line. It would surprise me. I would be surprised if we can get above this trend line. I think gold's days are almost numbered. Your RSI is almost overbought. You're hitting against the trend line. It was a huge run up. I still think gold will go sub 1,000 in the current gold bear market. I don't believe the gold bear market has ended. And oh yeah, I don't care about Tether, so I can close this chart. So I can glance at Apple only because Apple had, a big thing. Man, I can't believe how long this video is. I just wanted to do like a 30-minute video because I had so much to do today. Not sure when I'm going to do it. So quick look at US stocks, and then that's it. I didn't even eat today. It's already like 140. So this is AMD. What did I say about AMD last time? I don't even remember, but so I'm pretty sure I was bearish AMD. Oh, wow. Talk about textbook. You got your 9. You had your 1 to 4 candle correction off the 9 right into the moving average def cross, and down it goes. So this is a very bad point for AMD. Below this blue line opens up a fall to sub $15. And if you go below that next blue line, you probably end up in serious trouble on AMD, and you are. So yeah, I'm not bullish AMD at all by looking at this chart. Let's look at Apple, which is why I opened this up to begin with. So Apple is down about 8% today. I think something to do with, overseas sales. I haven't paid attention, right? So yeah, same thing, right? You hit your 9 on Apple. You hit the 9. You had a sequential 13 right at the low, and like I said, Wall Street loves a sequential 13. Your CMF was a disaster the entire time. There was no divergence. Like your CMF was telling you that Apple is in serious trouble. You can see the huge red CMF below the 0 line, the CMF below the 0 line. So as Apple was rising, your CMF continued to fall. That is serious divergence with internal money flow. And there it goes. And there goes Apple. Took a big nosedive this morning. You had your 9. You had a little bit of a correction. You couldn't even get to the moving average. Like AMD showed more strength. And down we go. This is a very bad sign. This is how countdowns get kicked off. Where's my countdown number? There it is. There's the countdown, red 1. And now we're looking for another sequential 13 because this candle just perfected the 9. For those that believe in that all 9s eventually become perfected 9s. I personally don't, but other DeMark experts do. And yeah. And I mean, I can glance at Amazon. Yeah, Amazon is doing the same thing. It bottomed off of a beautiful reversal candle. Did hit a 9 that didn't stick like the S&P, and went into the moving average and now pulling back. It looks like Amazon is showing some strength, right? Amazon is hanging in there. Let's see what happens from this point on. I wouldn't bet on Amazon going down. The CMF, however, looks very bad. If I had to choose a direction, it does look like lower prices in the near future. Netflix, Netflix got beat up so bad. Netflix might have a little more fight in them. And same thing, you had a bunch of 13s at the low. You had your 9. You're on the 4th candle of that 4-candle correction after the 9. This is now looking somewhat strong. I would look for, a 9 on Netflix before looking for the reversal. Netflix does report earnings earlier than other stocks, so keep an eye on that. Tesla is not looking good at all. You have a red 2 going below a red 1, but Tesla held up better than the rest, right? So it's like one of this stock rotation thing going on. And Facebook. Anyway, I think I'm done, guys. This podcast lasted a reasonably long amount of time. That's about it. Just one more time, a look at the Unconfiscatable conference. Check it out. We've lowered the price back to 0.1. I'm sorry I haven't refunded people yet that I owe money back to. I will. That's what I was going to do today. I'll probably do that right after this. The people that paid 0.15 and people that paid more in cash will PayPal it back over. And yeah, so please check it out. Come out and support. Maybe we'll add, it'd be nice to get 3 more speakers in, but I don't know, like it's too much to deal with at the moment. I still have to make an agenda for when and who's speaking and all this other stuff. All right, guys. Talk to you all on the next one. Thank you for watching on this birthday anniversary of Bitcoin. Had a lot of debates over altcoins, not where we expected the podcast to go. I hope there were good discussions, and you can see how what we're dealing with here, right? Like even like the people that are on our side of Bitcoin, like we still have to explain to them why a world of altcoins is an absolute nightmare and why economically it's not going to happen. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I may or may not see you tomorrow because I got to start traveling. Talk to you all later.